What's up everybody, welcome to a great game today. This is an epic best of 5 that was played during the ESL Major League Playoffs between Gamers2 and Fnatic. A best of 5 series, and this is just a ridiculously good match. So guys, get your popcorn ready. We are in the new patch, so a lot of changes happen. We have Sylvanas, which can be played by the teams. We have huge changes to Jaina as well and other heroes. So the entire draft and everything that really affected the game here was completely changed within the last few days, and that means that we're going to see the new meta, we're going to see new heroes, new compositions. And well, without further ado, we're going to jump in game number 1 between Gamers2 and Fnatic to try and find out who's going to take the lead in the best of 5 series. Game number 1, ladies and gentlemen, on Sky Temple in the playoff here at the ESL Major League. We're having to the left side Gamers2. They're starting here with Leo from Korea on Malfuria, and Shai who is playing Diablo, AD on Sergeant Hammer, Yova on Illidan, and Nika on Vala. To the right side of the map, in our first game here today, Freds on Kerrigan for Fnatic, Ace of Spades on Uther, Lowell on ETC, KSL completing the double healing composition of Fnatic with Rega, and Shinobu on Sylvanas. I'm Khaldor, with me is Calarius, and we're going to bring you the coverage of the playoffs here at the ESL Major League.
Alright, so let's see if they're going to be able to contest for this vision up to the top. It already looks like we're seeing Fnatic move on the way up there. Fred's leading the charge with Kerrigan. I'm actually surprised to see Fred's on Kerrigan over the ETC here, with Lowell playing it.
Yeah, Lowell really loves ETC. He's playing it a lot, but he's also the guy that jumps on a lot of the melee assassins for them. But in this case, we're having him in that position right now, taking ETC, and that is the tank for them. ETC versus Diablo, the two tanks that we have in the game. If we're looking at the builds, by the way, we have With the Wind, which is kind of the standard talent to take on Sylvanas right now. Most players will go for Envenom on level 4 if you go for that damage build, and then later on for follow through. It depends a bit on which Sylvanas player you're looking at, since there are several builds that are viable, but this is in most of the games the standard build. Especially with follow through, you can do a lot of damage if you do it correctly.
Yeah, definitely. It's very, very strong, the Q build with that Withering Arrow. And on the other side of things, actually, Devil's Due has been taken by Shaihu, so favoring the resurrection capabilities a bit more for Diablo compared to the regen ability that you get from those souls. So a little interesting kind of mix up there.
Yeah, and at the same time, we have that roaming squad suddenly in the map. We just saw that with, of course, the stun on Uther combined with what we're seeing from Kerrigan, but not successful. Vala was able to dodge that, and that was really, really well done. It's super dangerous if you are one of those like low HP heroes, you are squishy, and then suddenly the double stun comp comes in. On the other hand, Freds didn't really hit that perfectly either, so the last stun did not hit home, was a bit of a problem. The temples are active now, and that means that both of the teams are going straight for them. It's of course very, very important at the beginning that you set up everything for the second temple wave when level 10 is hitting.
Yeah, all importantly, temples being claimed, but lanes still being soaked by both of these teams. So not looking to contest, not looking to hard fight any of these temples at the moment. Just happy with claiming 1 for 1. And as we mentioned before, all that experience coming in from the lanes is certainly going to help.
Yeah, in regards to builds, now that we're having level 4, you can already see what I was talking about earlier. We have Envenom taken on Sylvanas, and if you have a Kerrigan together with Sylvanas, the double Envenom gives you such a powerful level 4 in early game, and they're going straight into the mid lane already, trying to utilize that. Here comes the stun, and Nika is being killed here. First blood for Fnatic, very, very well played here. It's a bit reminiscent of what we had with Arthur's Kerrigan with a double Envenom. Of course, Sylvanas doesn't have that lockdown, but Envenom alone is just like so great if you want to kill a target early on level 4, and that's where Sylvanas can now help Kerrigan out.
Yeah, definitely. That was a good pickup of that first kill. You're right with the reminiscent of how it was playing out, especially on things like Haunted Mines. That was something that came out a lot in previous metas. But Yova down at the bottom, just holding on against Lowell, not doing too much. Hardcamp's already been taken at the top. That's going to give them quite a bit of pushing power, just to even out that lane, really, because it was all being focused down by that temple.
I'm a little bit surprised that they actually take the hardcamp this early. Usually you see most of the teams trying to get the hardcamp around the 4-minute mark. That's usually when we have the temple at the bot lane coming in. The temples are activated 2 minutes after the last shot of the previous stage was done. So normally you have 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes when the second temple wave with the level 10 at the bottom of the map hits. And that's where we see most of the team is going for that hard camp. In this case, Fnatic wants to push early already. Maybe they're gonna try and take the hard camp away from Gamers2 here. And Yova is already there. They have the double Envenom. And if they use that, they can do a lot of damage. And I think that's why they took their own camp this early.
Good stun lockdown. Yovi's going to actually fall there, so a nice pickup to start things off. But here comes Shaihu with a few more members of this team. They do not want to give up this hard camp so easily, and Fnatic are going to have to get out of there, because Gamers2, as much as they did lose Illidan, they reacted pretty well.
They acted very well to that, and ETC didn't get a chance to go up, but it also means that they lost out on some experience, and ETC got that. The 2 kills that Fnatic got are also extremely important, so Fnatic really with a nice thought process. I like it. Taking this camp early allowed them then to just attack Illidan while he was trying to get the hard camp. They have double Envenom. It's a very, very powerful level 4 and level 7 for them. They even hit level 7 faster than their opponents, use that to take Illidan down, have 2 kills now, and you can see them lying in wait already again at the Siege Golem spot.
Yeah, just waiting for Yoe on Leo from Korea to make a strong move and waiting for that camp to be finished off. And there's all 5 of them here. The hammer is up at the top, so that's not going to help out too much at all. As Shaihu takes a lot of damage, gets pushed away, and that easy camp gets stolen.
They would have loved to kill Diablo there, but taking the Siege Giants is already great. And Hammer is still at the top lane. He is doing his damage, and well, that gives them... at least they close the gap, I want to say. So Gamers2 is fighting back. It's not like they're just like sitting ducks and Fnatic is picking them off one by one. Fnatic is being aggressive, and they should be with the build they have. But at the same time, Gamers2 is reacting very well to this. The problem for them is that with Hammer at the top lane, they cannot really contest the Shrine at the bottom. So Hammer is rotating now, but it's going to be a late rotation.
Yeah, very much so, and contesting still kind of difficult, although they will all be full health, so there is the potential that they can steal a few more of these shots if the fight goes in their favor. But we're already seeing Fnatic lying in wait, looking for an opportunity. Stun goes down on Shaihu, but they're going to back out of there pretty quickly. Yeah,
they are all the way down to the bot now, and we have still both of the teams not even hitting level 9, so they can fight on even footing, at least for now. Follow through has been taken on Sylvanas, as already predicted earlier, and that gives a lot of damage to the hero. They go straight for 80 already down. The double healer comp doing work here this early in the game. Nika is being chucked in as well. Fred's taking down Vala now, and yeah, Diablo this time, he's not going to make it out of this situation. Very, very good fight for Fnatic, and a crazy strong start into this first game for them.
Yeah, the Gamers2 clumped up really, really heavily during one of that moment in that fight, even looking for Xiaowei there, but do not get him off the back of all of that. But you're right, it's the healing, the sustain coming out of these 2 healers at the moment with Rhaegar and Uther. There was no touching Fnatic in that fight.
Yeah, and now we have the heroic abilities for Fnatic. I mean, they get a lot of kills there. It's 5-0. They can maybe even aim for the boss if they would want to. They have that heroic ability, so they can go for very, very aggressive moves now. We're having, interestingly enough, an attack against Shinobi in the middle. Yeah, using that Haunting Wave very, very well here on his Sylvanas. But as I was about to say, with the heroic abilities, we're having Maelstrom, and we have Divine Shield on Uther. So with especially the Divine Hurricane later on level 20 getting nerfed in the last patch on Uther, we see Divine Shield a lot more often right now, and that is doing quite some work. And in a situation like this, it's also a great tool that you have here. You have a lot of stun already on Kerrigan, so if you can keep Kerrigan alive, if you can keep Sylvanas alive, if ETC might be in trouble, then that talent is really doing work for you.
Oh, Shaihu gets caught way out of position and will end up falling to this. He only had 60 souls, so they are going to get taken away, and he will be able to respawn quickly, but that's quite the chunk of experience already going in the direction of Fnatic. But it's really cool to see the Divine Shield come out. You're right, that's awesome to see.
And of course, for Sylvanas, it's pretty obvious what you are gonna get. Wailing Arrow is the talent right now. Stage Dive on ETC, a must on this map. Ancestral Healing. I could have seen with a different composition in the double healer them going into a Bloodlust, but the comp does not really help them too much with that. You can utilize that on Sylvanas, but the rest of the heroes that you're running with this don't really get a lot of Sylvanas, like, it just doesn't do enough for you. If it's a siege tank and you have also Vala with this, then you might go for a Bloodlust in a double healer comp. We've seen that in the past. It has done in a few games a lot of damage, but right now Ancestral Healing makes a lot of sense here. Whereas on the other hand, we're having now the heroics for Gamers2 popping in as well with Tranquility, Apocalypse, Napalm, another attack against Shaihu here. Oh, he's trying to get away, uses the Apocalypse, gets heal, gets the stun off. Fnatic in a really bad spot, but a good heal against K-Seal, even the ult on Ace of Spades, or from Ace of Spades, and Lowell goes down as well. Gamers2 turning that assassination attempt around against Fnatic and take the fight.
Yeah, if all of them, well, the majority of them didn't get hit by Apocalypse there, it may have gone a little bit more different, but the lockdown and the damage that came out from just that one move alone was fantastic there for Gamers2. Now they've claimed themselves the middle temple. Bottom temple has still gone over to Fnatic, though, only losing one person during that fight, so at least they've, you know, been able to salvage some part of the situation there.
Yeah, that was extremely good. Like, getting that stun into stun, having also, of course, the Rain of Vengeance on Vana really helped them there. It was a close space, and Diablo, I saw him dying like a couple of times, but they kept him alive. It was really well done. Lowell now jumping in there, immediately on the hunt again, but there is a talent that they're missing out on. Gamers2 got that talent, but they take down Illidan regardless. He's in a bad spot. Very well done here by Fnatic, closing the distance and experience again, and that allows them also to get level 13 on the board.
Yeah, if they can pick up Illidan kills here and there when they actually go for things like that, it would be fantastic. There was actually a pushback there with Barricade, not working great against Shaihu, but it does end up falling pretty fast, and he will be able to get out of danger's way. So they're looking okay. And
during all of this, we had Rega at the bot lane, Kesil gathering up additional experience, and also makes sure that he, of course, takes that shrine, or the temple, and there's a lot of pressure. And this is, of course, one of those big things on this map. This is one of the main reasons why we have Mule taken from Malfurion. You want to keep your structures alive, and currently they're losing a lot of them. At the top lane, we're having 4 heroes for Fnatic, but Gamers2 is moving in with 5, so Fnatic needs to be careful until Rega can join them.
An evasive fire was taken for Sylvanas there at level 13, which is just so fantastic. Really powerful stuff. Gives you extra little bit of mobility there when you're going into those fights, and you can almost have it up all the time. It's because of how Withering Fire is actually working and the mechanic of it, so it's very powerful. Yeah,
it's a great tool to have, and we will most likely also then see on level 16 the talent where you get the additional damage against a single target. It's absolutely crazy if you combine that with other skills, and for example with the Tyrande, but it's a lot of fun there. So Sylvanas really starting to do some work in this game, seeing that she's doing the most damage for the team. Shinobi with 14,000 damage, and that's actually the most damage that a single hero has dished out in this entire match, also including the Gamers2 heroes, where we have Sergeant Hammer and Vala, of course, with 13,000, which is still very much respectable, but it just shows the power of Sylvanas here.
And looking to rival these easy camps down to the bottom. The one from Fnatic dies very fast. There goes Apocalypse, and Shinobu's able to dodge away from it with the Haunting Wave, and will have Stage Dive come in, trying to chase down Leo from Korea, but Raining Vengeance is going to slow that pursuit down for a little bit.
Great Rain of Vengeance here, hitting 3 heroes, and that saved Malfurion, but Shaihu is getting extremely low. They're focusing him down, losing Kerrigan in the process on the other hand, and Diablo is going to be back in just a bit. Fnatic retreating for now, both of the teams roughly at the same level. We're having a bit of a lead in experience still for Fnatic, but they need to be careful here. AD already with the siege tag, with his hammer, is trying to do the damage, and Diablo is going to be back in just a few seconds to help the Polish team out here.
Yeah, they've got to be very careful. They can't continue on with this. They were trying to make something happen while it was 4v4, but with now Shaihu returning with his own little version of Resurgence, they will be totally fine and can push this away. So, and they could even start rotating to the top temple if they really wanted to here. That was okay for Gamers2.
Yeah, it was actually very good for them. And we also, by the way, on level 13 have now Shrink Ray taken on Ace of Spades Uther, since he lost his sprint. So sprint was taken away in the last patch from Uther, so it's a bit harder for him to reposition himself in a fight to get the team stun in. One of the reasons also why a lot of teams now tend to take Divine Shield over Divine Hurricane, and Divine Storm of course at first. And once again, Uther moving in here. We have France with the jump, trying to get a lockdown, but Shaihu is there with the slam overpower, trying to push them away. Immediately the Divine Shield on Kerrigan, trying to keep her alive so that she can work her magic.
I think they really need Apocalypse in these fights. It's 3 seconds away from actually being done here for Shaihu to have it back off cooldown. But without that, I think the sustain is too much here for Fnatic. The Apocalypse has been pivotal in the past 2 big engagements they've had, and without it, they're having a hard time.
Yeah, it's always also a bit tricky of course for them to really set it up, since they don't have a Void Prism, they don't have a Maw to work with that. They can use Entangling Roots on Malfurion to get that. If he hits a good one, then there's always the option of getting one into the other. But if they are able to lock down 2 or 3 heroes with Apocalypse and then also use Rain of Vengeance as a follow-up, that's going to be amazing for them. One of the things that we talked about in the draft, by the way, and that is very transparent here now, is that with the build that they have and the double healer being taken by Fnatic, it's really tricky for Illidan to be as aggressive as he wants to. He's usually waiting a long time until he enters those fights, and for very good reason. There's no Tacita with a shield available. There's only the protective shield on Malfurion that can help him out, and Malfurion just simply doesn't have that burst heal that you always want to have when you're running Rehgar.
Definitely. That does cause some problems. We're seeing the level 16 talents all come in. Quite a few blood for bloods across the two teams here, with 4 being picked up. And Cold Embrace on Sylvanas, which does pack a punch because it makes you all the more vulnerable to attacks once you get focused down. So you have to be very careful. And to be honest, Leo from Korea, does he have enough sustain to be able to heal through extra 25% of damage? So that person's going to have to run away and keep themselves alive.
Oh yeah, like if you have that talent on Sylvanas, she can just do so much work. It's going to be interesting to see how exactly... Oh, Diablo actually jumping in, or ETC that is. Lowell trying to push them away, and once again, Diablo in a bit of trouble. Yeah, Shaihu is moving away now, but already on half HP. They lose a lot of the sustainability of Diablo already at the beginning of the fight. Lowell is still full health. This ETC trying to shield especially Carrigan. They have most of their abilities still alive, and we do not see Apocalypse just yet. It's going to be ready in another 26 seconds. That's not going to be soon enough. And once again, Freds jumps in, gets the Divine Shield as everybody focuses on Carrigan, but Gamers2 is in a bit of trouble here.
Yeah, definitely. And if Diablo dies soon, he's only at 55 souls, so he won't be resurrected. But they're able to pick up Lowell there. He goes very low. We'll be able to get him before even the Ancestral Healing actually goes off, pushing them back. Shaihu's still alive in the back line. Zhao is going to jump on forwards here and try and do some work on these guys. And Ace of Spades is going very low. Yeah,
Ace of Spades being taken out there. And Kazel actually really messing up with his ultimates here in this fight. It's really tricky to time it perfectly on Rehgar. You don't want to use it too early. A hero might be able to get out, but he missed the Ancestral Healing on ETC even though he was in range, and he also missed the one on Uther. And that was extremely bad for them. They lost both of the heroes, and losing ETC in this case is just not an option. They had a very good position at the beginning of the fight, but then we saw Gamers2 focusing down ETC right away. They got very good stuns against him, and Rehgar just wasn't there in time. So that was definitely a bit of a problem with the healing here. And if they can keep ETC alive there, it's a game changer in the situation. But right now, Gamers2 is actually a level ahead, and they are taking every single opportunity they have, they take it.
Sneaky Shinobu taking that easy camp down to the bottom away from their enemies, and well, of course the other one did get taken away from them. But that was good by Shinobu to do that during that moment that was quite tense with 2 members down. And they're even going to take the hard camp up to the top now with the 1 temple being activated. So this fight could be very important over this next temple.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely important here, especially since, well, we're still on eye level with the teams when it comes to talents. You want to fight those fights before your opponent is on level 20 and gets the extra talent. Also, we haven't seen a fort fall yet, or a keep, I should say, and we're going to see that very soon. That boss hasn't been touched yet either, and those are, of course, things that with the increased death timers right now are always a possibility if you win one of the fights. So both of the teams have to be extremely careful. Losing a team fight at this point is going to cost you.
Yeah, definitely. And we're seeing there Shaihu is going to walk forwards. He has 100 souls, so he will be able to respawn quickly if he ends up dying. He's not too afraid at the front there, looking to put on some pressure against Lowell, who is at the front line, very much so at the front line, with the rest of Fnatic just hanging back off at this point. The 2 tanks brawling. Look at how symmetrical the setup is here from both of them.
Yeah, nobody's jumping in yet. Here come Freds though. Lowell gets extremely low, gets healed in the last second. Kazel again a bit late, but Ace of Spades with the burst heal helping him out here. Freds now moving away. Ace about to die, keeps himself alive for a bit longer. Apocalypse already being used. Lowell gets stunned and taken out, and Uther is also dying. Very bad spot now for Fnatic to be in. They had a great early game, but of course with the hero composition that they're running, that was to be expected. But at this point, Gamers2 is really dictating the pace of the game.
What a back and forth little game, as you say, with Fnatic actually being ahead at the front, and then now Gamers2 just... I said it in my preview, showing their consistency, showing their ability to just win out. To level 20 has been hit. They're now 2 levels ahead, picking up those level 20 talents whilst holding strong here in the mid. And I've got to say, I really like the pick of Diablo. The way he's been able to hold at the front lines has just been really impressive. And Shaihu knows when to go in and when to really just hold the line. He's really good at it.
Diablo definitely saw play before the patch, and now that his heroic ability has a smaller cooldown or shorter cooldown, it is also a great pick. We've seen especially Team Tomorrow Big play a lot with the hero here, and he's being picked up by a lot of teams these days. Right now, it's once again the strength of Gamers2 that we see in action here. In the past, they were even a bit the comeback team that at the beginning of a match would fall behind 2 or 3 levels and suddenly just like turn things around. When they started with Heroes of the Storm, that's what we saw in nearly all of their games. Of course, by now they played it a bit different here, and they are not usually like dictated in the early game even. But against the composition that Fnatic was running, they knew from the start that this is going to be a tough mid game, since Fnatic, especially on level 4, has all that burst damage with Envenom on 2 heroes as well. But right now, it is the time in the game for Gamers2, and they're using that. They took the boss, they put the pressure into the mid lane, kill the keep, and now they want to get keep number 2.
Yeah, the boss is pushing pretty darn hard. Sylvanas is up at the top fighting against Malfurion. Got a little bit of extra experience from towers up there, so that does help them a little bit in terms of catching up, but still had to continue running away from Malfurion. Sylvanas would have actually died in that 1v1 fight because she was so low. Leah from Korea doing good there to slow down that push at the top.
It's a very tricky situation for Fnatic to be in. As I said earlier, if you in these late stages lose one of the team fights, you are going to pay for it. Just because the death timers are so long that your opponent is always going to be able to take down structures, and that's exactly what we saw. They killed the keep in the mid lane, moved back, took boss, annihilated another keep, and now with the 2 temples up, Fnatic is in a position where they cannot afford to just stay safe and stay back. They need to fight. That's why they're frantically trying to get to level 20, and they're getting it just now because that allows them to fight, and they can still turn things around. But if they lose another team fight with 2 temples being up and only 1 keep alive, they're going to lose the game.
Deafening Blast gets taken on Shinobu, so that extra damage on Wailing Arrow is going to do a lot next to the, really close to the center of that, and also Omega Storm being taken for Kerrigan. So a lot of damage between the two, and even Bulwark of Light actually being picked up for the Divine Shield on Uther. So they have great sustain, they have great tanking ability, but they need to take the fight correctly here against Gamers2.
They need to contest those temples. I mean, they have the keep lost already, and now the core is being attacked, already losing hit points. They need to go up to the top, and Gamers2 knows that. They are playing a very, very smart game here at this point. In comes ETC with a stage dive to the top, and Kerrigan with an immediate jump. That's done with the Raid of Vengeance is great, though Apocalypse coming to play as well, and Illidan using his Metamorphosis. They go for Ace, but he keeps himself alive, and Chaiku is starting to get low here. They're really trying to get him, and soon Kerrigan is going to get one of her stun combs off again, but Lowell is low and getting heals with the Ancestrally. Great move by Rhaegar this time.
Shaihu's going to have to get out of there as well, though. He's going quite low. That being said, he does have enough souls to actually resurrect, and they're always being slowed. The multi-shot and frostbot shots actually slowing down this whole team. They will all survive, but they still need to do something. I still think they need kills here. Gamers2, if this is a stalemate situation, the core is being pushed down to the bottom.
Yeah, the core is already being attacked, and they have the stun, but look at Shaihu once again at full HP. They are killing Uther, and they're going straight for the rest of the team. AD already with so much damage that he can dish out at this point. They're trying to take Shinobu. Oh my god, the turnaround! Illidan and AD already getting caught, stunned, and taken out. That was a great movement. That was exactly what they needed. Really well done by Fnatic, but they're losing still points on the core with all those catapults. This game is going to end very soon if they don't do anything about it.
Yeah, they need to go back right now. It looks like this is going to be all done, though. Just extra little being claimed there of that temple. That will fall the core. GG. Game number 1 goes to Gamers2.
Yeah. Very well done here. They played the map. They knew that they only had to buy time, and they did. Gamers2 with a 1-0 lead in the best of 5 series. Gamers2 take game number 1 in the series and therefore the lead here. And Fnatic, I mean, they had a really good start into the game, but then later on Gamers2 just proving to be stronger than they were. And in this game you could really see that we already have a lot of changes with the meta. Suddenly we have Kerrigan in there again, we have Sylvanas being played, and still Fnatic has to adjust to a couple of things, but you can really tell how the meta in the current patch is already affecting the way that the games are being played here. And the ESL playoffs, of course, are going to jump into game number 2 here. Cursed Hollow is this time the map choice, and we're having a bit of a different composition because Jaina got through the picks and bans, so Fnatic is playing it with Jaina, and they also have Tyrande, so that suddenly gives them a lot of burst damage they're trying to use to take Gamers2 down in game number 2. So guys, without further ado, game number 2 in the best of 5 between Gamers2 and Fnatic. Game number 2, ladies and gentlemen, is Cursed Hollow. We are looking at Fnatic going up against Gamers2 here to the left side of the map. It is once again in blue, the Polish team with Leo from Korea on Brightwing, with ADRD on Zagara, Shaiku on Tyrael, Nika on Sylvanas this time, and Yova on Zeratul. Whereas to the right side of the map, Kessel for Fnatic is starting on Tyrande. We have Shinobu this time on Jaina, Freds with Diablo, Ace of Spades on Uther, and Lowell rounding things up with his Tacita. I'm Khaldor. With me is Calaris. We're going to bring you game number 2 here at the ESL Playoffs between Gamers2 and Fnatic.
And already banter being thrown out. Didn't even take the jet on Tassadar. What a disaster. One of the most amazing little things there. But there you go. Lowell is going to be riding on his magic carpet for this
looks
game.
Wrong, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't this look wrong? I mean, he has the jet available and he just like rides around with a magic carpet with a Mag Tassadar. Something is really weird here.
Yeah, I guess we'll just have to go for that then. But it's possibly one of the most amazing skins in the game. But oh well. So for now, we're going to see already the split going up. Friends Kessel and Shinobu are up at the top at the moment. Going to be going up against Sylvanas Brightwing as well as Zagara up here.
Yeah, and Zagara is going for push with Demolitionist taken on level 1, so trying to apply pressure against their top lane. The tri-lanes are both in position. We're having, in regards to talents, a lot of Regeneration Master picked up on Tyrael and on Zeratul here. Gamers2 in particular loves the talent. Oh my god, that snipe against Nika! Holy crap, that was damn good. That was really good by them.
Beautiful, absolutely beautiful. A great engagement, great shadow charge, great grab, and then straight into that Lunar Flare. So now Gamers2 is like, oh well, I guess we gotta be careful. But they were hidden behind that wall for quite a while, so they were just laying in wait for Gamers2 to slightly overextend.
That was an extremely nice move. That was beautiful. The way that they did that was great. And again, they're going for it.
Oh my god!
They just erased them out of the game. That burst damage on Jaina is insane. And if you have that stun, then you can just do so much. And, well, at this point, Gamers2, they're very well aware that this tri-lane at the top is not going to be an easy push lane for them as they were hoping for.
I'm sold. I'm sold. This tri-lane is what I'm doing when I'm going home, Khaldor. This is the best thing I have ever seen. You can't survive. If you get caught, you can't survive at the moment. That's, well, good luck, guys.
Yeah.
Good luck, Gamers2.
They don't have the burst heal. Like, with a burst heal, you could maybe use Brightwing to keep somebody alive, but it's something they don't have. And now look at the talent taken on level 4. It's like, yeah, I think we need more damage for Jaina, right? I mean, let's get that Envenom in, so that just in case, if somebody survives the comp, you can still use Envenom and push them back even further.
Freds is looking for it, but thankfully the creep is doing a good job of keeping an eye on that bush down to the bottom, so Freds can't really engage without being completely spotted there by Nika, Leo, as well as ADRD.
An interesting touch is also that we are seeing for Zeratul now the right-click build being used with the Vorpal plates on level 4. So going for a right-click Zeratul, which we see becoming a bit more popular. For our tanks, we have Amplified Healing on level 4. That is going to help out to keep them alive a bit longer. And also, another approach. The first tribute, by the way, is also now spawning, and we have a double healing ward taken. So Tyrande actually going for the healing ward here and not going for the additional damage. So DPS is going to come in, especially from the Hunter's Mark, Jaina, and then later on also Arcanform on Tassadar.
And also important to mention that in this patch now, Healing Ward doesn't work quite as it did. You still get the same amount of healing, just over an extra 5 seconds worth of time. Yeah. So it's slower, doesn't have as much impact in burst situations in those fights. So you got to be very careful. So 2 across 30 seconds, it's all right.
It's finally balanced. There comes the jump, and goodbye, Zeratul. Once again grabbed and taken out.
It's the eraser. It's the eraser. You can't survive. Shinobu is actually up here and will be able to run away, but the lockdown of the Lunar Flare off of this, and here comes Freds again with Kessel. That roam straight onto ADRD, trying to kill him off, and he will fall even after a little bit of an attempt at an escape.
Yeah, but only because Jaina was trying to give him some hope. That's the brutality that we see here. Jaina was just like going in a bit later, because first they gave him hope and then they took it away. That's what they did there, and that was a brutal move. So Fnatic is now actually playing the psychological battle. But yeah, coming back to that healing ward that you mentioned, I really like that they finally balanced the healing ward. They've been experimenting with every patch again, putting it from 2% of heal to 3% of heal. You could kill it with AoE spells at some point, which made it completely useless. Then they made it, in my opinion, a bit too strong in the last patch, because you had to right-click it and it did 3% damage. The solution that they found out now, I really like it. It's a good solution. It's a very nice approach.
Nika with a great wave away from that push there from Fred, so anticipating it, being able to get out, because if he hadn't, he would have basically died.
And did you see the Hunter's Mark straight against the Hydralisk? I can completely understand what Kazel was doing there. I hate those Hydralisks as well. If you go up against Zagara, there is nothing more annoying than that stupid Hydra coming out again and pushing you back.
And despite the power that they had in those first few kills up to the top and giving them a little bit of experience advantage, they actually have lost their full wall. So the composition of Gamers2, despite having those kills go against them, has still worked out alright up here.
The thing is, they would have loved to do more damage than that, because they even invested into Demolitionists, so you kind of want to try and really push that lane in with the speed that it borders on insanity. But with them losing heroes, and especially also losing Zagara, that push, there was a lot of that momentum from that push idea taken away, but of course they still can do that damage, and that's what they're trying to do. That's one of the main reasons why they're still able to at least be in the ballpark when it comes to the experience. Problematic is going to be when we have higher death timers. This time actually not working out. Your cleanse being used, and I think that is an adjustment that we saw on Brightwing because of this comp. Using cleanse so that when they jump in, that you have a tool to help your allies to survive.
Yeah, very good little choice there from Leo, as they're going to try and fight for this tribute here. Shinobu's very close to picking it up, and actually will during all of that little bit of chaos. Gamers2 now actually going a bit far there with Tyrael. He does get Hunter's Mark. He's going to take a lot of damage from that Blizzard that barely just catches the very end of him. And he managed to survive. Yeah,
this sniper comp here is so dangerous. Everybody just has to be on top of their spells and cooldowns, because one moment where you don't pay attention and you're gonna lose a hero, you will fight a 4 versus 5, and you never want to do this. Heroic abilities are gonna come in very soon for Sylvanas. We have that standard build that I was talking about in level 1 once again with the bin on level 1. We talked about Envenom, and that follow through talent on level 7 is just so absolutely amazing to give you a damage boost. You want to go for it. As you can see on level 10 right now, we have Divine Shield again taken on Ultra. Apocalypse is going to be the talent for Diablo, no surprise here. Also with Starfall, Water Elemental and Archon, it's not really something that was unexpected.
Hardcamp's been taken over and going through the mid lane there for Fnatic, and they're going to try and rival this position and almost give this away, actually, by the looks of things. Now that they've only just got level 10 in, they didn't think they could rival that, so Curse goes over to Fnatic.
The question is, how much can Fnatic do with a Curse? Because at the top lane, they're still gonna lose that fort if AD stays there, and they know that the rest of the team is down at the bottom trying to go for the Golem. AD with his Demolitionist talent can easily take that fort down, so that lane is not gonna push in. At the same time, we have 2 heroes in the mid lane gathering experience, and the only thing that Shaiku and Leo are doing down here at the bottom is trying to delay them for as long as they can and poke a bit every now and then. So far the Curse not really doing a whole lot. The only thing that it really does, it allows Fnatic to take the boss.
Yep, now their boss is potentially a little bit safer on their side of the map once they want to take that, but it can still be rivaled until they get a kill, maybe on Nika. There goes the Lunar Flare, picking him up, pushing him away, and will be able to blow him up pretty darn quickly with that 5-man move.
Yeah, and that allows them to go into the mid lane and take a few structures down, because the boss is currently occupying 3 heroes at the bot lane, and that is suddenly where they get some value out of this Curse. They can also go straight up to the top, captures the second boss, and with this one, they should actually be able to also take down the top fort if they push with it, but they could also just try and roam the map and grab a few camps.
Yeah, definitely. Boss at the bottom was going ham for a little bit, locks down Leo from Korea, but he'll heal up and all is good to go. But at least they were kind of preoccupied during up that. Even Shinobu, they know they're so confident in picking up this second boss, he's just going to go back, get a bit of mana, so that he can be more useful in those fights all the quicker.
Oh yeah, I mean, right now the situation that we have in the game is that with the early game being over, the level 10s are now here, we are suddenly seeing all of those heroic abilities, of course, unfold. And that is one of the things that is going to make it very interesting, because Gamers2, they struggled in the early game, but they're still ahead right now in experience, thanks to their push at the bot lane, and of course Zagara pushing the top. The thing is that they didn't get a single kill just yet, and that's something that they might be able to change with Judgment now available on Tyrael, and also with a Withering Arrow, trying to disable parts of the team of Fnatic to get their kills against the rest of them.
I mean, every single one of their heroics that they've taken is all about control. Even Emerald Wind is kind of opposite difference. But whoa, look at the damage from Jaina on bottom lane. 3 men have to disengage there from Shinobu alone.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're seeing here once again. Blizzard thinking before the patch, well, let's give her more damage, make her more of a class cannon than she already is, and that's exactly what you get after that. Here they jump in, and of course at some point they will have to turn around and try and take that fight, or they're going to lose way too many heroes, but they can't. Here comes the attempt to at least save Tyrael, but he is dying too. So with that Void Prism, and it was the idea to just try and get the stun out of the way so that Tyrael can't lock down, but they lose 2 heroes here. That's kill number 6 and number 7 now in favor of Fnatic, and they are going to try and steal that hard camp as they are now fighting 5 versus 3.
Yeah, prompts them just straight to go for the steals. It's a really cool move here by Fnatic. Again, already a great game 2 come out of them so far, as they start off absolutely flying, and they can even just retreat back and get this tribute here, which can't be rivaled a whole lot just yet, as Tyrael is only just respawned.
The girls get their shoes now on level 13 with Tyrande and Jaina, both with sprint. Uther doesn't get that anymore, he's a bit too manly for that, so no boots for him. Instead, we're probably going to see the Shrink Ray again, at least that's the talent that, especially Ace of Spades ran in the last game. For our Archon, we have Prescience taken. The right-click build that we see on Zeratul didn't really do a whole lot in this game just yet. To be honest, so far we didn't see a single time the proper setup of Gamers2 to really apply some pressure, but for them it's a lot about pushing those lanes in, and I mean, think about it, they lost 7 heroes in this game, but they're still exactly on the same amount of experience as Fnatic is.
Yep, and you should never count Gamers2 out either, because with this setup, as you said, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen the potential obliteration of some of this small composition we're seeing here from Fnatic. All of their kills have pretty much come from pickoffs here and there, that roaming phase. Now it's a completely different phase of the game.
Exactly, and of course if they get their kills now, it's going to be great for them since those death timers are increasing, and that allows you suddenly great windows of opportunity when you can take the boss again, when you can push in against the lane, maybe kill a keep. But the pushing potential that we're seeing from Gamers2 is insane, so if you don't react to their transitions on the map, then you can be in trouble very, very fast. Right now we have a couple of camps pushing in from Fnatic though and applying pressure towards the mid lane. At the same time the Tribute is spawning at the top and they're gonna fight for it. It's level 13 talents versus 13 talents, and both teams already getting in position here.
Gamers2 have an option here if they need it to actually engage. They have 2 great engages with also the Judgment as well as the Void Prison, and are Fnatic going to give them it? They have to play this very, very slowly here, but likewise Gamers2 want to play it really fast.
Yeah, here comes once again Fans Apocalypse. What a great comp once again, using his own step for the Apocalypse, but the Void Prism and the more. A perfect reaction from Gamers2. That was so good.
They're going to be able to take Fred's down. There goes the Judgment straight onto him, but he actually stays alive. He survives. Also, the Healing Ward able to keep him up. Fnatic here in game number 2, chasing on Gamers2 back from all of this, and they will be able to pick up the tribute as well.
God, this was so damn good. I'm loving it for both teams. It was really well done. I mean, we see Diablo jump in at the same time, using Apocalypse, slamming somebody with the overpower into the stun. Tyrande with a Hunter's Mark, they try to go for the kill, but at the same time Zeratul is fast enough to get his Void Prism out. If he doesn't use the Void Prism there, the entire Gamers2 team is dead. But they get Void Prism into more, try to go for the damage. They nearly kill Diablo, but then in the last second, Uther is able to get his Divine Shield in, save him, heal him up again, and that allowed them to continue the fight and take 3 more heroes down. A great battle by both of them.
Looking to try and rival this boss, but there's no way at this point with a 4 against 5 situation, Tyrael only just having respawned. So a boss goes away for them, and we're just going to have Fnatic rotate around. I mean, they can get this tribute, get the curse, and then go for their boss, because they've just had their level 16 talents come in.
Yeah, the 16 talents are going to be absolutely amazing for them. You don't want to fight against this, and Gamers2 right now, they should be worried. They didn't get a single kill in this game yet, but we saw in the last fight how powerful that setup can be. So Fnatic, of course, also in a spot where they know, hey, we have the advantage, we're doing well, but we had the same situation in game 1, and then they fell apart a bit in the late game, so they need to play very, very careful that they don't fall apart in one of those fights and get suddenly countered, but they know that if they continue playing like they currently do, they have a very, very good shot at taking the second game.
Yeah, really cool comp to see coming out from them. The roaming phase was great. Even the team fight phase there was good, but Gamers2 still, with the team comp that they have, I think they can still take good fights. So I'm not counting them out just yet. They're going up against another boss, though, up at the top, and this second curse going over to Fnatic. They've had such a strong game so far, such a strong game.
And you're totally right. You should never count Gamers2 out. And in general, in HOTS, comebacks are always possible.
Yeah.
You can be 3 levels behind if you win that one team fight and have a perfect setup. It gives you an opportunity to come back into it. Right now, Fnatic is pushing. They're really trying to take down those structures right now. They have their level 16, but they're going up against the same talent on the side of Gamers2. With Quidrise taken on right wing, we're having a blood for blood. Of course, that cold embrace also allows now Gamers2 to go for snipe attacks and try to take a target down, especially since we're having Berserk on Zeratul, which gives his right-click build just a lot more, like, it's a lot more dangerous right now with that. So if you combine those talents, you can really kill a target. I mean, we all know which target they want to kill. They have Tyrande that they can Judgment against and then use Zeratul to take it out, and they have Jaina.
Yeah, they really need to explode them very, very quickly, and there's the potential to, that's for sure. Top lane is being pushed out by an easy camp, but at the same time, Fnatic are rotating really, really nicely just to limit these towers from doing anything and keeping these lanes pushed, whilst that hard camp was now being cleaned up in the middle. So, all in all, Gamers2 backs against the wall, as we're just going to see Fnatic rotate and continue to just take all the camps on this map.
With the comp that we are seeing for Fnatic, I want to highlight that once again, that Uther, with the changes that we have, is now oftentimes taking Storm Shield, Divine Shield, which we see here in this game. But in this composition, it's especially powerful. Even if we had all the all-stuns on Uther, he would probably still not take the Storm Talent here for a simple reason. They need to keep Tyrande and Jaina alive, and to do that, you need something like the Storm Shield in this situation. Tacit is, of course, great to keep them alive as well, but having Uther there with a heroic ability is so important right now. If you lose someone like Jaina in that fight, you are in trouble. And if she dies first, then you need to get the hell out of there. So they will do everything that they can to keep Jaina alive and to combine her burst damage with a Hunter's Mark on Tyrande.
Yeah, definitely, and especially since looking at the damage, Jaina's done as much siege damage as members like Zagara, who really hasn't had as much room as she would like, but she is one of the siege damage masters when it comes to these things. But look at this, we're already seeing Fnatic maybe looking for a bit of a trap here, and waiting for Gamers2 just to slip out of position, but I don't think they'll give him it just yet.
No, like, at this point, Gamers2, they know that this, I mean, this is 18 versus 18. Still extremely close in experience, thanks to that pushing potential that we have, and also the positions on the map that Gamers2 was taking every single time to just close those experience gaps. But right now, they know that if they win a fight, they are the ones that will be massively in the lead, because there's new curses coming up very soon for the team. The bosses are going to be up in just a little bit, so the fights are still on eye level. If Gamers2 wins a fight, they can win this game in one fell swoop.
Well, Freds is already positioning himself very aggressively at the front of all of this, making sure that he can stand between anyone who really wants to go in. There's the Oracle, reveals that Zhao and Shai, who were trying to move around that bottom side. So good move by Lowell, just to keep an eye on their opponents.
Yeah, the tribute is still there. Fnatic might even decide to give that up. I don't really think, though, that they will do that. Lowell with the storm. Here comes that. Oh, the initiation! Oh! He's actually getting stuck! He's getting stuck, and Kaysel gets away. Oh, that totally did not work out for Gamers2 here.
What a disaster, and there goes the charge into the Apocalypse. Caging Nika, just locking a Sylvanas down can really cause a lot of problems. Sheep falls super fast. Shinobu, though, at the back with the Divine Shield, keeping him alive from Zhao. What a great engagement there by Fnatic.
Exactly what we said earlier. They need to keep Jaina alive, and they did, and now they turn things around, take down Tyrael as well. But that was exactly what that Divine Shield is supposed to do. Keep Jaina alive, because they know she's a high priority target for Gamers2 right now. They get 2 kills, they are going to capture this tribute, and they will go for the boss now. The death timers are so huge at this point that they can go boss into boss and start pushing. That was a great fight for Fnatic, but it was also a bit of a misplay by Gamers2 at the beginning when they were trying to go for Kaysel's Tyrande and Sniper, and they didn't get that chance. Oh god, even worse. Like, this should never happen.
Just beautiful play by Fnatic. Just beautiful play with the components of the team that they have crafted here. The Diablo charge into the grab, into the stuns. It's every single thing works out nicely.
True, but the death on Zagara was a big misplay by Gamers2. That was a very, very huge mistake that they made there. They had 3 heroes on the map. They have now to wait for another 30 seconds with Sylvanas and Tyrael alive again, and there was no way that they can go in with 3 heroes against 5 and take that boss. Being in that situation, or being in this position that Zagara can get killed, was a misstep by them. It's always tempting. I mean, I can understand where they're coming from here, obviously. You know what's going on. You know they take the boss. You know it's going to put you in a bad spot. And you just want to go in there and at least do some damage, maybe find opportunity to, I don't know, maul them, steal the boss away. But these hero plays oftentimes bring you in a very bad spot. And because of that, they didn't even have the option to contest the boss at the top because they still were in a 4 versus 5 situation after Tyrael and Sylvanas came back into the game.
Now there's the potential for even more 4v5 situations. Now that Fred's actually picked up Blink, it's Blink into Charge, into Apocalypse, into Grab, and they just kill someone pretty fast. They get that position locked down very, very quickly if they catch someone out of spot. But also, Redemption was taken from Uther, which is his new talent that allows him to resurrect into a fight and cause even more disruption here for the line for Gamers2.
Yeah, and in this case, I'm personally not a massive fan of that talent just yet. I really want to see how it's going to play out in Heroes of the Storm. It's very much like Skeleton King's talent in Dota 2. So in this case, I really want to see if they can get some value out of that. They're already moving in again with the Apocalypse being there. They're starting at Shy. Look at this damage! It is insane! Even with the Maul and Void Prison being used, they take down Tyrael and they kill Sylvanas.
Yeah, the Maw and the Void Prism being used at the same time is almost panic mode here for Gamers2. Not really too coordinated to try and deny any of this going on from Fnatic, but they have played a great game of Fnatic here in game number 2, tying up the series in this best of 5, looking to push down this core, and ADRD and Leo from Korea are trying to deny this from happening, but there is no way at this point. What a game by them.
Yeah, they can't do anything. The boss alone is going to finish it out, and there it is, the GG. We are seeing this series being tied. Great play by Fnatic. Gamers2 with a lot of good fights, and I really loved how they were able to stay in the game, but in the end it is Fnatic who takes game number 2.
Oh boy, that burst damage that Fnatic had there. That early game was ridiculous. Moving in, stunning a target, using Diablo for the slam and also overpower, and then going straight in, taking everybody down with the quick Hunter's Mark, Lunar Flare, and then also, of course, all that burst damage that Jaina can supply to the comp. A ridiculous aggression that we see from Fnatic here, and they win game number 2. So suddenly the series is tied with us heading into the 3rd game and trying to find out who's gonna take the lead here once again. Guys, get ready. Game number 3 coming up right now.
Game number 3, ladies and gentlemen, is on Dragonshire. We are jumping into the game. The series is tied in this best of 5 series. Currently, to the left side, it is again Gamers2. In the last map, or on the last map, they did not even get a single kill. But this time, of course, they're going to try and change things up with Leo and Korea playing Rhaegar this time. ADRD playing Vala Nika. Jumping on Falstead here. Shaihu with the ETC as the sole tank of the team, and Yolva again on his Zeratul. Fnatic, on the other hand, relying on a composition that is very similar to what we saw on map number 2. Lowell with Jaina, Frets on Carrigan, we have Kaysel on Tyrande, Ace of Spades on Uther, and Shinobu swapping out Diablo for Stitches.
And the Owl already spots just a few of them going through the middle there, but now in Dragonshire we've actually seen a huge amount of mid-fighting at the very, very beginning of the game. So already Fnatic got themselves in position to look for a potential jump up, tried to throw down the hook on Joey, and he's way too far away.
Yeah, it was a good attempt. I mean, this is a strategy that you saw, especially at the beginning, tried very often and with huge success, but by now teams are aware that when they are up against the Stitches, especially with this much lockdown, there is a huge threat looming. So they are playing it safe, and that's exactly what they did right now. The one thing that we can already touch upon a bit is that we're having on Vala the composite arrow taken on level 1, so we are going to see here with a multi-shot build instead of the right-click build that is getting a bit more popularity. Nice move there by Shaiku with the power slide. We have our roaming squad already identified. It is indeed in this game Freds together with Kaysel, with Carrigan and Tyrande trying to get their stuns in.
Yeah, so Zhao and ADRD are going to be potentially the next targets here, but they they offer quite a bit of escape as well as also just a disengage and potential to help each other out. So it'll be difficult there. Heading on down to the south and just rivaling Nika as well as Leo from Korea.
The bot lane is now the tri lane, and in this case, at the top lane actually, we have immediate attack against Stitches, and nice face melt there by Shaihu. Down goes the tank, and this is a very, very bad spot all of a sudden for Fnatic, because they need to rotate a hero to the top lane immediately to gather the experience. They are going to lose out on quite a bit if they're unlucky.
Yeah, definitely, and they were a little bit reluctant to actually go through between the lanes in the middle because they knew they were one person down. It wasn't exactly easy for them to go through there. That was really cool thinking there by Fnatic, as much as it was kind of probably cool thinking by Gamers2. They could have potentially picked someone off whilst trying to rotate, and we do miss that hook up to the top.
Yeah, it was very, very well done here. And now both of the shrines are under the control of Team Gamers2. We have Fnatic jumping in. They could kill Yoba here. He doesn't have blink up, and even the stun attempt there. That was actually well done here by Kesel, setting that stun up into into that bush. Just making sure that no matter who tries to help Zeratul, he's not gonna get that. And at the same time also closing another path of Zeratul and forcing his hand.
Good little juke there from Leo from Korea, making sure he wasn't going to get dragged and get hit by the combo from Kerrigan. As she does pose quite a threat once that comes along, but it's double Envenom again, this time on the Jaina and the Kerrigan, to try and blow someone up once it goes along. And if the stuns land, and those two Envenoms do as well, then goodbye anybody that actually gets caught in that.
Yeah, exactly. It is that Envenom that will give them a huge presence now. On this level 4 up to level 10, I would say, they are going to be the team that is really going to try and make the moves, and in this case that means trying to take the Dragon Knight. So they already had 2 of the shrines. We're applying a lot of pressure there. That healing water on Tyrande is going to help them later on, especially against, of course, the skills that we are seeing from Vala with all of that right-click damage, and sorry, not the right-click damage, but the multi-shot damage that she's going to have, the AoE damage. Right-click on Zeratul again with the Vorpal Plates on level 4. Uther hasn't taken his yet.
Yeah, just being a little bit delayed about that. Wondering if he needs his protective shield, and apparently he does go for that in the end. He does Ace of Spades, so still Kesel and Fred's laying in wait, looking for anybody to show an ADRD in the opposite bush over on the other side, and eventually do reveal their position.
Yeah, Falstad at the bot lane is extremely careful, by the way, in this game. I like that a lot. Ace of Spades already threatening the stun. Ooh. Leo doesn't really know who is there in the mid lane. Vala escaping. That attempt to just like gang up on her did not work out. But they lose the bottom shrine because of it, since Nika and Leo just saw, alright, there's only Uther here. Let's take that shrine and make sure that we are not pressured in the mid lane.
That was really patient movement by ADRD as well. As he was trying to get out of that, it can be all too tempting to run straight back to your gate and make sure you're okay against people that are opposing a presence. But Shaihu is going to end up falling during all of that. Good combination of stuns there against him.
Yeah, and of course the Hunter's Mark as well, and Vala falls too. Just no escape path left in this case. And this is a lot of damage that comes out from Fnatic. We've been talking about this comp, and the setup that we're going to see from Gamers2 will need the level 10. They are going to try to annihilate Jaina and also Tyrande with a good setup with Void Prison, trying to use the Hinterland Blast, and then also the Rain of Vengeance that they're definitely going to pick up on Vala to make sure that they can wipe 1 or 2 targets out. And if they get that setup, they're going to be very dangerous. But for that, they need level 10. Before that, it is definitely the time in the game where Fnatic is going to be the most, the scariest.
Nika doing quite a bit of damage down to the bottom lane, getting one of those towers at least and causing some problems. As I say, he does have extra damage now, just Falstad, and as well as that barrel roll also is quite potent, a little bit faster during all of these things. So has good escape potential. I'm interested to see how Falstad's actually going to fare in the team fights, though, because he's still very much about absolute perfect positioning.
Oh yeah, positioning is going to be the most important thing for him, because if he gets stunned, he's dead. With that burst damage that we're seeing coming out from Fnatic, if Falstad is in an exposed position, he is going to die instantly. For him, it's important to stay in the back, get all of his skills in, and especially rely on that Hinterland Blast. With a decent setup from his teammates, he can snipe either Jaina or Tyrande, and those are the 2 heroes that Gamers2 needs to get out of the way. Kerrigan is also going to be really annoying to deal with, and if they get a snipe on her, that would be even better. But of course, Ace of Spades is going to try with the Divine Shield to make sure that these heroes are going to stay alive for as long as possible.
And Nika saves his barrel roll, knowing that there is a potential of some people being behind that wall once it had actually, just before it had died off. No combo is going to be hit by Kerrigan just yet. Down to that bottom, so they're able to save all their members and keep them intact.
Yeah, but Kerrigan is like, she's just that constant threat, and you can really see, oh, Jaina actually dying in the mid lane here. Yova and AD already jumping in. It was a good kill that they really needed. The rotation from Tyrande into the mid lane is happening instantly, so that they can pick up on the experience that is happening now with that lane running into tower range. Level 10s hitting even a bit faster for Team Gamers2. We're having Rain of Vengeance, there is Ancestral Healing, Hinterland Blast, Stage Dive and Void Prison. Oh, but also the fight at the bot lane right now as the Dragon Knight is being picked up by Gamers2. Ace of Spades and Fred's a bit too late to grab that shrine.
Good start from them. Putrebile goes on from the Stitches here as he picks up his level 10, and the usual ones across the board, and now obviously Divine Shield being usual for Uther, but ADRD actually taking a lot of damage already.
Holy cow, that Dragon Knight is not a happy panda, losing more than 60% of his life bar instantly against these heroes. Having that Dragon Knight doesn't really help them all that much in this situation. He didn't really see that coming. I mean, it just showcases once again how insane this burst damage on Jaina is if you have a Hunter's Mark as well.
Dragon Knight's hardly done anything. He's got himself maybe half a tower, well, the one at the top obviously, but that was about it. ADRD now just going to have to fall on back. First Dragon Knight really doesn't get much accomplished nowadays, to be honest.
Yeah, but he should at least get 2 towers.
yeah, that's true.
7 minutes in, usually you get to towers, but with that defense, there was very little that he could do. That comp is great for that. Shinobu dying at the top lane, though, using his projectile in the last second, but yeah, he was a bit not really out of position, he just didn't see that coming. He didn't realize that 2 heroes were waiting for him, and then Gamers2 getting that kill, and that puts us in a position where both of the teams are equal on the kill count, 3 versus 3.
Ace of Spades taking quite a bit of damage there to Nika, but nothing too impactful going down as the roaming comp from Freds and Queso will actually take the hard camp down to the bottom, and they've been a little bit, Gamers2 have been a little bit reluctant to actually try and do anything about that, despite not seeing the roaming comp anywhere, so, but they did take their own hard camp themselves, you know, blow for blow in the end.
Yep, the bottom hard camp, of course, is starting now to soak up some of the tower shots. We're having Rhaegar doing his thing, and Rhaegar is such an amazing hero when it comes to camp control. Just with that lightning shield, with the wolf form, he can do so much, easily take on those camps alone, and if you have another hero moving in, then of course that helps you a lot. Nice jump there, by the way, by Yova. Getting away in this situation was not easy.
Yeah, prioritize Hunter's Mark, though, over Lunar Flare, and I think if Lunar Flare had have hit, they could have actually killed him off. But in the end, that is not to be. Shaihu does end up falling up at the top with a little rotation there, with the hard camp also pushing. And Yoe, right next to Freds, if he gets spotted... Ooh, okay, so there was a little bit of lockdown, but apparently he was not seen.
It just shows again that if you are at some point alone on the map and Fnatic rotates towards you, you need to get away there. If you don't know where the opponent heroes are, Gamers2, they need to play it very, very safe. They've done so far exactly that throughout the entire game, and they need to. Once again, a hard camp being taken, the rotation from Gamers2, they really want this. They might be able to steal the camp here. Oh, the camp taken! The stun against Leo, Hinterland Blast being used. Nice Divine Shield on Freds. Kerrigan saved by Uther here, and they might be able to get the kill against Yova.
Gotta blink away. Straight over the wall, so good escape from him. He's cloaked up again, and they can't continue that pursuit. But look at that, Khaldor. It's such a shame that Uther and Stitches no longer have their sprint. Obviously, Stitches being ages ago, but that would have been a glorious level 13.
Exactly. We have, the girls get their shoes. That's what's happening here. The girls went shopping, and they all came back with the same pair of shoes. We have Jaina, Kerrigan, and Tyrande going for sprint. Uther, interestingly enough. Oh, nice Void Prison down here at the bot lane, and that could be the setup. ETC jumps in. Rain of Vengeance being used, but there's no Hinterland Blast, and nice moves from Fnatic so far. Yova is getting low, Kazel as well, but he gets away when we have Projectile being used on Shinobu as Nika gets healed thanks to the ancestral healing from Rhaegar. But ain't again, Kerrigan needs to be careful though, using Heroic too, and so far not a single hero dying.
Oh, Nika also gets picked up there, so goes the barrel roll, but straight into the Lunar Flare. He ends up dying. I can't believe Fnatic were able to disengage briefly so well and then turn it all around. Gamers2, they felt they had a gift-wrapped few kills there, but Fnatic, what reactions?
They didn't have the Hinterland Blast. It was still in cooldown, and that was the big problem there. The rest of the setup was exactly like you want it to be. The Void Prison, the Rain of Vengeance, but without the Hinterland Blast, you do not have enough burst potential, and that was a big problem. Oh, they might lose you over here. He doesn't have the cooldown. There comes the stun, and down he goes. Fnatic pulling out all the moves right now. Great game from them at this point, and they are starting to gather up quite a lot of momentum.
a lot of the pros, and as well, I mean, we've already seen it in the past. You know, Fnatic are able to perform in extremely high tense and highly important situations, and right now, they're doing that. They're doing that against Gamers2, who some consider to be the best in Europe right now. Fnatic are putting on the pressure. They've picked up the Dragon Knight, going to be able to push through mid.
Yeah, the Dragon Knight is already taking down the first few towers here. One of the things that I still find a bit surprising is that spell shield on Uther. I don't really think that Uther is currently the target that they're really focusing on. Gamers2, that is. And also, he could have gone for Shrink Ray again on level 13. And against, let's say, Zeratul, it seems to be a pretty decent talent. But he runs with that. That makes Uther, of course, a very, very safe hero. Burst damage is not going to be a problem for him. We have Shinobu also breaking through the wall at the bot lane with his Dragon Knight now and aiming straight for that fort. That is going to give Fnatic even more experience, and they already are on level 16.
Yeah, really good stuff. Numbing Blast actually been taken out once again by Jaina just to lock down that little bit extra. And also, you know, Blood for Blood, Shooting Star. We're seeing Benediction being picked up a lot here from the Uther, just to make it even a little bit more sustainable during all of these fights, making sure that he's always got mana available to him.
Gamers2 is aiming for 16, and they have that now, so they can start taking fights again with the overdrive that they have on Falstad to make that burst even more, even stronger. And we have also a lot of split pushing happening for them, and that's the reason why they were able to just close that gap in experience, at least to a certain extent. At the top lane, there's ETC pushing in the well, pushed in the wall. In the mid lane, we had Vala going for it. Their talents now with the advancements on the right click build that we are seeing for Zeratul with Berserk taken here. We're having Stone Skin for ETC, and Earthgrasp Totem is taken up by Rhaegar, not going for Blood here, which would have been his other option.
They're looking to catch someone out with that Earth Grasp and maybe cause a huge amount of problems. If they could get an Earth Grasp into anything, really, I mean, they can use Void Prism into Earth Grasp into Void Prism. Whichever they choose, their opponents are going to be locked down for a little while, whilst they take the hard camp to the bottom, and we're already seeing Gamers2 take their hard camp up to the top.
6 kills against 3 in the last few battles, all ending in favor of Fnatic. So Gamers2, there's really still waiting for that setup. This time with a Hinterland Blast, and we saw how close it was for Fnatic to keep their heroes alive the last time that Gamers2 was able to get a good Void Prism up. If they use the Hinterland Blast, then they might be able to snipe one of the important heroes that Fnatic has in their setup, and then it's going to be very, very scary for them. So Gamers2 is just waiting, playing it very patiently, and waiting for that opportunity to rise so that they can finally get Void Prism, Hinterland Blast, and Rain of Vengeance all synced up.
And all needing to maybe move down towards that bottom four. All of that being said, there's no way they could have saved that. Too much damage coming out from this composition here, and they will pick that up. And so, getting themselves a little bit more experience, but still in the lead here, a Fnatic, as they try and make that gap a little bit further. But will Gamers2 even do anything in the middle here? They're just soaking up their experience from that mid lane. Don't want to divide from each other, because obviously Shinobu on Stitches still very much a threat, looking to try for a hook.
Yeah, and they don't get that hook just yet. Also, one of the things that we have to talk about real quick is that there's no fishing hook. They have actually imposing presence on Stitches, and that showed in that last hook that Shinobu threw, because with the extra range, he would have had a chance to grab Rhaegar. As it happens, they're relying on a shorter hook and favoring to keep the tank alive, thanks to the imposing presence, making him, of course, a very bad target for the right-click heroes on the side of Gamers2. Once again, we're having the push up at the top lane, emphasized with the hard camp, but the shrines are up. Oh, and they get the kill against Vala! As we said earlier, if you get that hook and the stun, then you will be able to take down one of the targets with that team composition that Fnatic is running. And
Shinobu, once Nicker actually dies, he just chases them off. He actually mounts up straight away, goes past the fort, and makes sure that this kill is guaranteed. They go, actually, obviously, it's not Nicker, it's well, whoever's playing Valor. Who was playing Valor? I can't remember, but I'll just alt and find it's ADRD. And yeah, that was really well played by them. And now they're even looking for Shaihu, who really has to get out of there, because he could get locked down very quickly.
He's going to die.
Yeah.
If Ace of Spades is moving in, there's... Oh my god, he actually gets away.
Now that's on cooldown for a little while. 100 seconds is not a small amount of time.
But that was so close. Ace was... how far away was Ace with that stun or threat? Yeah. That could have killed him. I mean, he had no other way to get out of there, so it was a good choice to actually go for the stage dive. I can't believe that he got that through.
And, yep, he does, so... Crazy stuff, but as I say, it's on cooldown for a little while now. That means the split push potential for them is going to hurt. Obviously now level 20 should be able to come in here for Fnatic a little bit quicker because of not having stage dive available to them.
Yeah, and Fnatic now is in a spot where they will aim for that 20 and try to not really take any big fights before that. If they get another hook, of course, that would be great for them. They're always up for an easy kill, but they need to be careful with the team fight. Still, Shinobu is being attacked here. He has his imposing presence. They're going straight for Shaihu. They get the stun. Where's that Hunter's Mark? Not in position just yet. Yobo with the Void Prison. Hinterland Blast! And they're going for Lowell, but Jaina is alive. Shinobu about to die, though. They don't have the heal available anymore. It's a 5 versus 4 in favor of Gamers2 this time, and Fnatic is immediately moving back.
Gonna have to back out. Ace of Spades is gonna fall. Freds is potentially gonna take some damage. He actually did a lot with his Primal Grasp as well as his stun there. So Zhao is gonna end up dying off during all of that. So it was a good combo despite Kerrigan actually falling. But still, it's a 1-for-3 trade in favor of Gamers2, who were able to turn that around well.
And take the Dragon Knight now. So just like that, Gamers2 once again taking the initiative here, going to reach level 20 much faster, and this is going to kill a lot. A 4 is going to fall. They can then either rotate to the top lane and kill fort number 2, or they say, with level 20, we're going to start pushing into the mid lane and try to get a keep. But since a lot of their heroes were very, very low, not only on hit points, but also mana, they're rotating back, and I think that there is no threat to the keep, at least not in this situation.
And it's going to be Nexus Blades taking on that Zeratul, so making that right-click damage all the more menacing once he actually finds his target, gets onto them. Now level 20 talents also coming in over on the other side here for Fnatic, having, you know, they didn't need to catch up. They were the ones to be caught up to by Gamers2, and they did it in great style. Yeah,
now we have all the heroes back up. We have level 20. And that, of course, increases also the attack or the burst damage that we're having for Gamers2. So with the setup that we saw in the last fight, that is, of course, what they are still aiming for. And this is going to become even more powerful for them, thanks to the additional talent with the Call of the Wildhammer. Also, we're having now the Nexus Blades on Zeratul. That gives him a bit of additional damage and makes it harder for heroes to get away from him. But still, double blink now on Kerrigan and Jaina. Survivability for them is going to be a bit easier. They can always try to blink away from that Void Prism once it hits. We have even the Storm Shield used. Redemption again on Uther. And Stitches is just so tanky. Relentless, imposing presence and hardened shield.
Yeah, very difficult to actually kill him off. Obviously, as well, with the fact that he has Tenderizer, there is the potential that if he is able to hit someone and lock them, cause them a few problems, the chase could continue on. But we're still seeing a lot of potential escape from the other side of the team. I mean, everyone basically has good escape on the team here of Gamers2.
Yeah, the teams on the map now are aiming for the mercenary camps. Nearly all of them are up. Actually, like all of them except for one are currently up. So we're going to see hard camps taken, the Bruiser camps, as well as the Siege Giant camps. And Fnatic is playing this a bit cheeky, stealing one away from their opponent. Could also try and throw a hook there now that they have vision. And they do it on, oh my god, again with that fishing hook talent. Nika would have died, but there's the setup that Gamers2 is looking for. And where is the Call of the Wildhammer? There it is! Oh, but that's stunned by Kerrigan! Holy shit! 3 kills within a second!
And the Wildhammer, the Hinterlands blasted nothing! Very, very little actually goes down there. It shoots through some of the Storm Shield, but that was about it. And Shaihu now is in a lot of trouble, as is Leo from Korea. Fnatic with the counter engagement of the Sentry. That was... They had nothing.
Fnatic just simply said, listen boys, just eat that blast, we're gonna ignore that and we're gonna take them down. Freds was probably just like calling the entire time, guys go in, I got this, I have the stun on all of them, even if we take some damage with the ult on Force, that I'm gonna brutalize them right now, and then Lowell can get his damage in with Jaina, and that's exactly what happened. I mean, an instant kill on 3 heroes here.
That was amazing. Fnatic, what a play. Storm Shield goes up again. Shaihu has no way to be able to stop them. They have 10 seconds here of free damage on the core, and by the time anybody actually gets up, it's going to be very, very low anyway. Shaihu is trying to delay this for as long as possible.
Well, Jaina is dead. There's 50%. They're not going to get it. Or it's going to be very close. 30%. There's a lot of heroes up. Kasil is dead. Freds. Oh, this is so close. Void. Oh, no, look at that. Nobu barely able to make it. And the 2-1 lead in the best of 5 series goes to Fnatic with this kill in game number 3 against Gamers2.
Game number 3 ending in favor of Fnatic, and Jaina just looking at them and being like, oops, I did it again. Once more the burst damage coming through here, and Jaina is just in this patch a monster. Blizzard buffed all the damage that she has across the board, with all of the skills suddenly doing a lot more, and you can really tell. The compositions that Fnatic is playing here are super aggressive. I mean, that Stitches comp that we just saw there with all that additional stun and burst damage was something Gamers2 just couldn't deal with. So the Polish team suddenly in trouble. They won the first map and they looked really strong on Sky Temple, but then they lose 2 in a row, and Fnatic is now a single map away from taking the playoffs here, or at least reaching the grand final of the winner bracket and advancing to the next round. So a bit of a dicey situation for Gamers2, and they need to take the next map. It is Blackheart's Bay on the other hand, and that is a map where Fnatic is traditionally very strong on. So Gamers2, they need to change the pace here. They need to come up with a new plan, because on the last 2 maps things weren't working out for them. We are jumping into game number 4 here on Blackheart's Bay between Gamers2 and Fnatic at the ESL Major League Playoffs.
Blackheart's Bay is our 4th map, and this could also be the last map, with Fnatic currently being in a 2-1 lead here as the ESL Major League against their opponent. Starting to the left, we have good old Gamers2 with Leo from Korea on Azutha, ADRD on Tacita, Joves playing Vala, Nika on Jaina, and Shaihu on Chen. To the right side of the map, it is Fnatic with Ace of Spades once again on Rega, ETC played by Freds, Shinobu on Sylvanas, Lola with Zagara, and Kaysil back on Tyrande. I'm Khaldor, with me is Killaris, and we're going to bring you the coverage here of the ESL Major League in our first day of the playoffs.
And there goes the Owl to try and spot exactly what's going on. Sees 4 rotating straight up to top, and actually that's probably exactly what they wanted to see, because they've already sent 3 down to the bottom looking for the potential of a kill, but the Oracle will be able to show them from ADRD, and this gives them a lot of room to push.
Exactly, they don't really want to get the kill here, they want to just simply push that in while the rest of the team is at the top, and look how fast this tower is falling. Sylvanas with their passive is amazing for that. They already took the half of the HP of the tower away even before the creep waves collide.
Very difficult to deal with this kind of pushing power, so they're going to have to be aware of it. Leo from Korea and Nika are going to come down, try and push Ace of Spades away there for a little bit, but he can just tap the well and keep himself going. But Nika's already cleaning up some creep, making sure that they're keeping on top of that from the very word go.
You know, I actually like Sylvanas here a lot, because you try, of course, with the objectives to take down as many structures as you can. If you take those structures out before the objectives are even being used, then you get so much more out of every single cannonball shot. And having Zagara and Sylvanas rotating and trying to take single towers down gives you just so much value out of every single barrage that you accomplish.
Yeah, now that you mention it, it's probably the best map for Sylvanas in regards to how the mechanic actually works, along with potentially Sky Temple also being very good, because it kind of acts as the same. But anyway, they're going to jump straight onto ADRD, do a bit of damage to him, not too much, and then force him out away there. But now that this lane is theirs once again, the rotation has to continue from Gamers2. They do not want to get this pushed as hard as they did before.
And they rotate down immediately, and so far their reaction has been great. They made sure that they always have a hero in a good position. Zagara, by the way, is pushing in the mid lane, and Zagara was always a very big force when it comes to pushing power, so you always struggle against that, and now they suddenly have 2 of those heroes. Fnatic is playing this really smart. If they have Sylvanas and Zagara on the same lane, the pushing potential is absolutely unreal, but if they just have Zagara somewhere on the map and then rotate 2 heroes together with Sylvanas to a different lane and start pushing there as well, you suddenly open up 2 lanes that are pushed heavily by Fnatic. And they are already getting their Siege Giants to increase that potential even more.
Of course, always got to be able to alternate those shots as Sylvanas, making sure that you can actually keep both of them stunned during all that time. But look at the rotation from Gamers2 to actually steal it away. Oh, and pick it up. And Ace of Spades going very low. They're going to kill him.
Beautiful play. Beautiful play from Gamers. So that was a fantastic read on what was going on there. They realized that 2 of the heroes are missing, and they're saying like, hey guys, they are taking the Siege Giants right now, and they have the perfect timing. They steal the camp, and it's not only that they steal the camp. If that camp gets taken by Fnatic, that pushing potential with Zagara, Sylvanas, and the camp is it is insane. So taking that away is an amazing style. It was so important. That was very well done. Very impressed by Gamers2. That was a great one.
Fnatic moving down to take their own easy camp potentially here at the bottom, and even pinging the hard camp there during all of that. But at the same time, you know, Sylvanas using... You see that little jump over the water there? That was cute. Try and get into that hard camp quickly. I'm not sure like that did amazingly. He could have just mounted up and kind of ran along, but it was a cute move there by Shinobu.
Yeah. Shinobu and Ace taking the next camp one after another. Sylvanas with their passive helping out there once more. At the top lane, we're seeing Freds going up against Shaiku and Yowa. He needs someone to help him out for a second so that he can heal up. Well, Ace is already moving in and using his healing wave. Bot lane, that's where we're currently seeing Kaysil. Needs to deal with those siege giants that Gamers2 just took. So far not a single team as... Well, we have 4 coins turned in by Fnatic, but we still have 5 on Leo. And both of them just like rotating over the map and trying to capture more. Chests spawning exactly at the same time that Shinobu and Ace want to turn in. And they actually still go through with it. But ETC gets killed at the top. And yeah, he could have gone back. When Rhaegar was up there, he could have TP'd back, but he decided to stay. Was only on half HP and now he paid the price for it.
Oh well, they're looking for ADRD as they come around the corner to try and get on top of him. And he was shifting out there and gonna be able to save himself, but is there any more damage coming along? Shinobu jumps across and gets the kill anyway. I think the wave got the kill. Maybe the jump wasn't necessary, but it was close. Wanted to guarantee that was the kill.
Well, he needed the coins. So he wanted to have the 5 coins, so the jump was really great. That was an important kill. Getting those 5 coins, especially this early, is absolutely amazing. And one of the things that of course need to be highlighted here too is that we don't have a mule for Gamers2. We have one for Fnatic on Tyrande, giving up one of her talents for that, and it's just a great tool to have on this map in particular. Regarding the builds, we haven't really talked about it that much. Pretty standard builds for both of the teams so far, and especially on Sylvanas we have again follow through after Envenom and with the wind. So these 3 talents really being the established standard talents on the hero, at least at this time.
Yeah, definitely. Also, Zagara has taken on a bit more of an aggressive stance. We're seeing battle momentum far more than rapid incubation at the moment, which obviously we did see rapid incubation actually being taken before in this series from the other side of things, but it's battle momentum provides you with great potential to be extremely strong and aggressive in team fights.
And talking about aggression, that push down at the bot lane is really doing work. Nika, ADRD and Leo taking down those towers, doing very well with that. We have also a barrage now happening from Gamers2, taking down already all the towers at the top lane, since we're having the fort in the middle eliminated. And a kill against Chen in this case now. Shinobu, by the way, has 7 coins at this point, but with Zagara and Sylvanas at the top lane and nobody there to stop them, this is gonna fall fast. The counter pressure at the bottom lane is also strong, but I don't think that Gamers2 is in a position where they can outpush Fnatic.
I mean, it's weird because either they have to base now and do something about it, but the rotation takes ages to get up there. Even if they base and go back, it's going to take quite a while. Ace of Spades is laying on the edge of this fight, and look at this, Divine Storm was actually taken by Uther from Gamers2, so whilst it's been Divine Shield all series long from Fnatic, Divine Storm has been the initiate choice from Leo Korea.
Yeah, and with Divine Storm, I have to say that again, I'm still missing Diablo Zeratul. I think with this talent being picked up, Diablo Zeratul gives you even more. If you go Void Prison into Apocalypse, into Divine Storm, and during the entire time you have Jaina in the back doing damage, I'm really still very surprised by the Chen and Vala pick on the last 2 positions, considering that those heroes were still open. But right now, we have 2 kills against 2. It's a lead for Gamers2 in experience, so they are doing quite well with this. I'm really curious about the late game between the 2 teams though, because I feel that the pushing potential that Fnatic has, coupled with how well they play this map in terms of the objectives usually, it's going to be tricky for Gamers2, I feel.
The pushing that we had then, that were because they were outnumbered 4v3, unfortunately for the Sylvanas Zagara comp, they weren't able to push quite as strong as the 4 down to the bottom, but obviously Gamers2 are committed more resources to that push down at the bottom, and obviously forcing that TP back to try and deal with it there for Fnatic, which, you know, it's trade for trade in the end. Gamers2 are leading in terms of the experience, but they couldn't deny this turn-in as Fnatic were out-positioning them at that point.
We have, by the way, also Strafe being used. I'm not quite sure if you already mentioned that. Strafe used over Reign of Vengeance in this case. Both of the teams still not really going into the team fights and more looking for camps, getting the hard cap. Even the boss now being attacked at the top lane. That is scouted, by the way, but I think it's going to be too late. Yeah, I think the rotation is just going to be a bit too late for Fnatic to do anything about that.
Not quite picking up on that just yet. ADRD ends up dropping down Oracle just to confirm that they weren't coming in the very last second. And now they're just going to have to defend against this. A lot of damage is going to go down on this wall. Maybe even taking down that fort. The golem isn't there yet, and the wall's about to break.
Now we have also Sylvanas not in position yet, just starting to move up to the top now to help out with this. The earlier 13 level is of course granting another talent to Gamers2 that Fnatic just doesn't have yet. That means Frost Shot for Vala will be having the Shrink Grey on Uther, which is a great tool right now. And they are in a very, very good spot here to just keep that momentum with the boss up.
Yeah, it's not really taking a whole lot of damage at all. So Sylvanas has decided to go all the way back down to the bottom to try and do something down there. Not even going to join the team, but at the same time, I think they realize this, and they're going to go in for an engagement as they're trying to wrap around. Ace of Spades is going to keep himself alive. There goes the Maw to lock one person down, but aside from that, not a whole lot.
Actually, Fnatic can be extremely... They can call them extremely lucky now, because Lowell got caught by the root from the boss on the way back. And if Gamers2 would have followed that up, instead of moving to the left side first, Zagara would have died. Like, there was no way to save Zagara if Gamers2 really moves in there. But they didn't really see that. They weren't close enough to capitalize on that. So the small mistake that we saw there from Lowell not ending up working against them. But yeah, that was definitely quite a lot of potential. Especially that Maw saving now also Fnatic in this case. So the retreat was a good one. They disengaged very well there. And during all that time, Shinobu was taking camps and additional coins.
Yeah, and actually it's also taken Spell Shield, which is a talent that you actually see when Sylvanas are going up against a lot against Novas and things like that, but it will be able to soak up a little bit of the damage that is being put forward because she is one of the main targets if she actually gets in a bit of a bad position.
I think going up against Jaina in this patch, Spell Shield is a great choice.
Yeah.
And that will help her to stay alive for sure. And I mean, of course, you give up an important talent with this, but it is, I feel, completely worth it. Another turn-in, by the way, happening by Fnatic, or already happened, so, sorry, by Gamers2. Fnatic was trying to turn in, but they didn't get the chance there, so still a lot of coins for Fnatic, and they need to be careful that they're not losing those in the fight. We have Gamers2 with a really nice lead here. They are playing this map very, very, very well, and I'm extremely impressed by them right now. But Fnatic is trying to prevent that keep from dying, and at some point they need to take a fight here.
Yeah, I don't mind if Gamers2 are able to do well. I would love to see a Game 5, but right now Fnatic still have the potential to easily be able to turn this around. Reds is going pretty far there and manages not to take too much damage at all. They also save the keep, so it will be healed up by that mule gradually. Maybe Gamers2 want to come back later on and try and finish that off.
I have to admit that I find this style that Gamers2 is currently employing very, very funny, because it's what usually Fnatic does on this map. And Chen is helping them with the disengage a lot. So if they want to disengage, they can do that. And Fnatic is, if it comes down to the objective battle, Fnatic is actually at this point losing. And I don't think they expected that. They need to start taking a couple of fights, because I feel this is the best way for them to get ahead in the game. Right now, they are still a level behind, and that will very soon also mean that they are losing out on a talent again.
Gamers2 has to be careful about taking the engagements. I didn't think we mentioned too much about the mosh pit actually being taken here over stage dive, but that will be a game changer if he's able to land one, and he may end up going for it very soon, but there was already a Luna Flare to try and deny that. Lowell's taking a lot of damage. There's the Ancestral Healing to try and keep him alive, but Leo from Korea catches too with that Divine Shield, and Lowell is going to die.
Yeah, Nika is still alive, and with Lowell already dead, they're gonna lose even more heroes. If they lose Ace with the 6 coins, it would be horrible, and yes, he is going down. 4 kills against 2. Gamers2 is in a great position right now. They are about to take down ETC as well, and this is an absolute slaughter right now. That momentum that they build up with the 16 talent as well is incredible. They can just like move in, take that keep. I don't think they will be able to go for the core yet, but they have so many coins that they can simply turn around and get another barrage happening here, because like the kill on Ace alone gave them 6 coins.
Yeah, and Joey had the presence of mind to actually take this blood for blood during that fight, so was able to use it later on whilst they hit 16 during all of that. Actually, he was the only one to pick up his 16 talent whilst that fight was going on, so really good for him. It obviously offers got a good pursuit potential, and they picked up another kill. potentially off that, they probably could have got it anyway, but it's an extra little bit of damage.
Yeah, so far the strategy that Fnatic is running here didn't really work out for them. That push potential was great, but they could not really use that to the extent that they were probably hoping for at the beginning of the game. The rotations of Gamers2 were very good. I really love the reactions from Gamers2. They did extremely well with this. And that Chen pick is working out extremely well for them. Better than I thought it would. So good job there by ADRD on the picks. Fnatic is trying to get back with a kill on the golem, and just look at those coins on Shinobu. He has 11 coins. Sylvanas really doing work on this map.
Yeah, and right now she doesn't have her level 16 talent in here to be able to soften up this boss. But they're going to be able to take it regardless, and maybe even get away and disengage. They still don't have their level 16 talent, so it wouldn't be the most ideal position to engage into, and they will get away.
They're 3 levels behind now, and the only way for Fnatic to win this game is to, first of all, get 16 and then win a fight. There's nothing else that you can do but that. They cannot play the objective game against Gamers2 because they've been losing out on that already. They lost 2 of the keeps, so there's very little they can do about that. They don't have the time for it, and once level 20 hits, they won't be able to take fights anymore. So as soon as they hit 16 and they get the talent, they need to look for a fight, need to win it, and then they can turn things around here. If they don't do that, then I don't think they have a chance of comeback.
They get themselves a fort at the bottom. That gives them a little bit of extra experience, but whenever it tries to get to the waves, it's a little bit difficult. They're having a hard time of actually doing that. Now they get their level 16 talents. Those will come in very soon. Brood expansion already been taken on Zagara, the obvious choice generally in these lineups. Imposing presence, it's the shooting star, there's the cold embrace, and finally blood for blood being taken. I was expecting
the kill against ADRD! Perfect mosh pit there, that's exactly what they needed. Lock one down, turn it into a 4 versus 5, and I mean, they're looking for the fight. I was just talking about it. They have 16 and they get the kill, turning it on a 4 versus 5. Unfortunately for them, the rest of Gamers2 is able to retreat here, but that's exactly what Fnatic needs to do right now.
Yeah, and that kill was actually without even using Shadow Dagger, so there could have been the potential, actually, oh no, I think Shadow Dagger was actually used during all of that, but regardless, the pursuit on forwards, if they've got more, there is so much damage to be done with Shadow Dagger on someone now, because it adds so much. So, especially also with the Hunter's Mark, the combination of Shadow Dagger and Hunter's Mark is just absolutely brutal.
Yeah. Definitely true. I mean, if you get both of those into the game, you can just really annihilate somebody, and that's what happened to Tacita in the last fight. But right now, that might be an opportunity for Fnatic to come back. But still, they lost 2 keeps already. They are still in a pretty bad spot here. They need to basically win every single one of these fights right now, and there's always the problem that if you lose a team fight at this point, your opponent will easily be able to core it.
Ace of Spades with a cheeky 5 coin turn in there, as Gamers2 are looking to try and get themselves the turn in as well. And once they do that, it's another keep's going to fall potentially.
I am very surprised that they did not try to contest that. Very, very surprised. They lose those coins there as well, and they cannot allow another turn in. They cannot allow another turn in, and this one alone is already brutal. So, very interesting choice to not contest that.
Yeah, Gamers2 now firmly in control of this game, potentially moving us on to a 2-2 situation here in this best of 5, as Fnatic looking for a potential fight. They want to take a fight before 20 kicks in, because they know they're up against the clock at this point. Yeah,
the keep goes down, and it means all of the lanes are pushing against Fnatic now. They're moving in up to the top, trying to look for that fight before the 20 hits. France is already waiting for that. They have all the heroic abilities up. If Shinobu gets a good silence in there, then they can do a lot, I feel. In comes Freds once again. Shaihu so far without the Wandering Hack. No disengage from them. They're just moving back. They have time. Gamers2, they do not need to fight. They would be crazy to fight here. Like, why should they? Yeah. They can wait for the 20. They can just, like, try to play even the objectives on the map. Whatever they do, they win as long as they don't lose a team fight.
Oh, there goes the bait, though. He tries to get straight onto Shaihu. He's going to get obliterated during all of that. The core is taking a lot of damage back at home, though, now, with those waves on the way. Fnatic are going to have to continue on somehow, but Gamers2 just back off.
Yeah, Fnatic is up against 6 catapults attacking that core. They need someone to move back immediately. They have a mule, which is great, but just look at that damage. 76% already. The mule is saving grace here. Lowell had to move back, but of course the kill against Chen was important to give them some space, some room on the map. The problem is, it's level 20 now for Gamers2, and that gives them a massive lead with the extra talent.
Twilight Archon comes in, Wintermute as well with the Hardened Shield, Blink, and finally Storm Shield across the board for them. So huge, pivotal, game-changing abilities are on the side of Gamers2 now, and Fnatic, how do they fight? How do they fight? They need to find so much room.
If they have a perfect setup, get a silence in there, maybe a good mosh pit, they can do a lot. Shinobu actually grabbing those coins, taking them away. They have level 19, but they're still one level behind. And still, Gamers2, they do not want to fight. They have Chen coming in now, and they can take that fight, but they don't even at this point, they don't really have to.
Yeah. Just let all the waves push on. At least the camps are helping Fnatic push out. And they even got themselves a turn-in, which could get themselves a keep. They will get that middle keep, that's for sure. So that's a nice little chunk of experience for them, but they need more from these lanes.
That boss is going to be extremely important for both of them now. The boss is going to be one of those crucial points on the map now. If you take the boss and you get attacked, you could lose the game because of a lost team fight. If you don't take the boss and your opponent is able to grab it, then of course the pressure is going to be absolutely unreal. And if you go for boss, then there's also the opportunity for Gamers2. If Fnatic would try to take the boss, Gamers2 has an opportunity to threaten a core push and then force them back.
I think they were a little worried there about the potential backdoor presence from Gamers2. They threw the owl down, they saw them all moving towards that bottom easy camp, but now they see them up to the top here. They're going to have to rotate up, deny this boss, but Gamers2 also knows that they have been spotted by the owl and is going to play it slow.
20 versus 20 now, and again, Hunter's Mark together with a Shadow Dagger is great, and that's what we could see in those fights now. Fred's at the front. This is still a game that Fnatic can win, even though they're in trouble. That Mule is helping them so much. Fred's is getting extremely low here. The Storm Shield on Rhaegar. So far, we did not see Ancestral Healing. Ace could wait with, or is waiting with that even a bit more, but this is a very close situation now.
Yeah, and they're up against it again. The bottom lane is pushing. There are two siege golems on there. Fred is going to have to move forward, but he's already taken half health damage once again. With still the potential of Ancestral Healing available to them. They're going to chase on a little bit further here. Will they be able to get engage?
Oh, the Ancestral Healing just hitting in the last second. It was so important. The Wandering Keg is pushing Sylvanas back. No silence just yet. The Maw locking one down. They go for Chen, trying to take him down. Nika was for a second negated here. Couldn't do any damage. Oh, but Ace goes down on Rhaegar, and Frats dies as well. And this is going to be game. The core already pushed by the catapults and the siege goals. With 3 heroes dying, they won't be able to save it.
That's going to do it. That mosh pit had to do huge work, and it caught 3, but it didn't catch enough, unfortunately, as Fnatic are up against it. They are going to lose their core, and that is going to be 2-2, Khaldor. We are going to go to a game number 5. Unbelievable series so far.
Yeah, this is absolutely amazing. I love it. This series has been great, and Gamers2... fascinating play by them. I really like it. Very well done here, what they did on this map. They get the win on Blackheart's Bay against Fnatic, and this puts us in a tied situation again. A 2-2 in the best of 5 here at the ESL Major League.
The Polish team taking the victory and tying the series up again, meaning that we are going into the last map of the day. So suddenly the score is 2-2. Gamers2 able to come back, and Fnatic looked really strong on map 2 and 3, but on Blackheart's Bay, they were not really the team that you usually see there, which tries to dominate the objectives and really tries to put the pressure on the opponent, sometimes even forgoes the fighting completely and focuses on collecting coins and turning them in. But this time that was exactly the style that Gamers2 was playing here. And Fnatic, they struggled, they tried, but in the end, it is the Polish team that takes the victory in Blackheart's Bay. So that leaves us with Garden of Terror, our last map in the series, and this is going to decide who will move on to the winner bracket final of the playoff and which team is going to drop down into the losers bracket.
The 5th map, the last map, is absolutely amazing, or is going to be amazing in this game. We have the final map of our first series here at the ESL Major League Playoffs, and it is a Vikings game. To the left side of the map, we have Gamers2 with Leo from Korea on Malfurion. It is 80 already on the Tacita, Yoba on ETC, Shaihu on Chen, Nika playing Vala here, and for Fnatic, we have on Vikings, on Lost Vikings, Shinobu, Lowell with Sergeant Hammer, Ace of Spades on Uther, Casel on Tyrande, and Frets on Stitches. The last and final map in the series, it's gonna be an absolutely great one. I can't wait for this to unfold in front of us. With me, of course, once again, is Kalaris, and let's jump into the game.
Oracle already revealing the composition in the middle here. Shinobu with those 3 Vikings poised and ready to jump on anything. And let's look at the talents quickly there. It's already Viking Horde being taken on them. And obviously, it's going to give them a little bit of extra regen throughout this game.
Yeah, it's for Vikings, you kind of have one build that is really being played these days, and that was the case right from the beginning. With the Vikings, is of course always amazing to like soak different lanes. At this point, we're having all of them clustered in the mid lane, where at the bottom the tri-lane push is happening, with Frets, Lowell, and Casel being in the position here. Regarding the first level talents, we see again that the Polish team is going for the multi-shot build on Vala, having as the single tank in the match for Fnatic. Stitch is going for that sustain build that you are kind of forced in after the new patch, since Pulverize has taken a pretty big hit. It is not being used anymore. So I'm really curious to see how this game is going to develop now, especially with Shinobu playing a hero that we don't see all that often in Europe. Definitely, and the thing is that it's not even just the versatility of Vikings that does come into play that's pretty annoying, but if you're a good Vikings player, you can block for days and days and days against heroes that don't really have good escape mechanics. Thankfully for Gamers2, a lot of them do have really good escape mechanics, so that's certainly something that comes into play. Malfurion's really the only weak spot there. Yeah, and another thing that we have with Vikings is, of course, that insane damage that you get with a longbow then later. You can do so much in these fights if it doesn't get burst down. Both of the teams now are nearing level 4. We have the first knight falling, and that means, of course, that the battle for the seats is on. Over, and everybody else going straight for the Vikings, but with a go, they're moving away. Nika with a very nice vault here. Actually able to get away from that stun, and it's a bit funny that we see that, because, well, I talked to Fnatic a lot, and Frats and Casey were talking about how they were always trying to anticipate what's going on. They had a lot of situations where they were hooking Vala and trying to comb the hook with a stun. Oh, as Frats gets nearly taken out here. And it doesn't really work out for them oftentimes, because Vala walls away. So they started to use it in a way that they try to anticipate where Vala is going to be. And every single time they do it, they told me, for some reason, the Vala players that they're up against don't even use Vault, and the stun doesn't hit. So they were very, very frustrated. Oh, well, you know, it's good in theory, I guess, but it's a little bit sad. Freds is coming around, though, towards the mid again, and no potential hook for him just yet. Creep Wave is a little bit in the way there. Whilst Ace of Spades and Leo from Korea have a lovely little fight up at top. Yep, Spin to Win is now the 4th talent, or the level 4 talent taken by our Lost Vikings here. We have the multi-shot build advancing on Vala with the additional healing ward on Tacita. Tacita, of course, now great in this game just to have the extra sustain for the entire team. And with the comp that they are playing here, they have also a very, very tanky lineup. Gamers2 with a double tank is going to really try and disrupt the entire setup for Fnatic. And the Garden Terror still being rivaled up to the top here, and we're seeing actually also Gamers2 just head on down towards the bottom Garden Terror, not really willing to rival this position, as everything got stunned during that Garden Terror attack. Maybe they thought it was going to die a little bit before that stun and decided to stay in, but that was not the case. Shinobu, by the way, not really splitting his Vikings too much. This is the first time where he sends one of them. He sends Eric to the top and is trying to take the experience here. At the bot lane, where the rest of them moving in against the Garden Terror. The root is already there. Stitches is straight in the middle. Yova is nearly getting stunned, but is able to dodge it. The hook, on the other hand, hits home, but he is still able to escape here. Lowell pushes him in again on Sergeant Hammer. It's a really big fight that we have here, but it shows how sustainable this composition is that the Polish team is playing with. And now that experience soaking up at the top here from this Viking makes itself very, very apparent. Look at that extra lead that they've got, but Freds is going to take some damage whilst trying to push in against that Garden Terror and try and get something. Able to hook ADRD, who shifts on out and gets out of there. The extra talents now on the board for Fnatic, and they jump in, taking a lot of the seats, but they lose Ace of Spades in the process. During all of this, we saw in the mid lane Shinobu soaking additional experience, as he also did sit at the top. That gives them nearly a level lead already against Gamers2.
Yeah, only the 7 talents now coming in here, despite them getting that kill on Ace of Spades. Can they capitalize off it? Not a whole lot. They were looking to steal camps, but now, I mean, Rigar has been up for a little while here, and Shinobu is not going to die. Oh, that hook, but obviously the wall is in the way, and Nico's not going to be hooked over.
Yeah, it's of course a bit of a scary move there, or at least it scares you when you see that, because you always expect that stun to follow it up, but that didn't really happen here. So in this case, now the Vikings in the mid lane being attacked, and Shinobu is just simply moving away right now. He has on 7, of course, jump, and he used that already to make sure that his Vikings would survive. The bot lane is where we're having Lowell going up against Shaihu, pushing him into the towers, but of course Chen is easily soaking that damage with the shield that he has. That old drunk panda going for the bottle every single time and soaking up the tower ammunition.
And does what he can. Does what he can. There's a hook on Shoei. He's going to take a lot of damage during all of that, but he is ETC, so we'll be able to soak it up quite nicely. Shinobu here with some of his Vikings gets the jump and won't even lose a single one of them yet. Still good mastery of the Vikings, making sure he's not losing any.
Yeah, very well played by both teams so far. We have that experience lead thanks to the Viking split that we saw earlier while the plant battle was going on, and both of them are very, very close to getting a plant in the next night. It was basically an even split. Like, a bit of a chain there, but both of them should be able to grab a plant later on. Level 7 talents, of course, also giving us Tenderizer on Stitches with the amplified healing that we see for him. We don't have amplified healing for any of the heroes to the left side with a double tank. Have still a very, very nice setup there. And you could see in all those fights how sustainable this comp is, how difficult it is for Fnatic to really kill one of those heroes. There's always Chen later on, he will have Wandering Cac to push you away as well. ETC is such a disruptive force too. Very difficult to play against that.
Fritz went way too far to check that. Face check that bush as the easy camp was being taken, and he will be punished for it. So good moves there by Gamers2 just to be able to pick up that kill. And aside from that, it's going to be all the Vikings just sitting at the bottom. And here come the level 10 talents. No doubt Boat is on the way, and Boat is pretty irritating to play against.
Yeah, it definitely is. Longbow immediately being picked up, but I'm a bit surprised that Shinobu doesn't split his forces more. We saw him with a split during the night, but on the laning phase he does keep all those Vikings together quite a lot, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I feel there were a couple of opportunities where he could have maybe soaked the lane and the rest of the team could have rotated, grabbed a few cams, tried to steal something. We have still an experience, both of them on the same level, so from that perspective the Vikings haven't really paid off yet, but now that the boat is an option, the damage in those team fights should be pretty cool for them.
Here comes the rotation around to try and steal that hard camp, and they don't get there in time. Ace of Spades actually picked up Divine Storm over Divine Shield here. So once something gets locked down, I mean, it's an extra little bit of stun that he has available to him, but also if you lock something down whilst the boat is there, it's huge, huge damage. So they've got to be very, very careful about that.
With them not running that Jaina and Tyrande comp that we saw in the games earlier, it does make sense for him to go for a different heroic ability and not use Divine Shield here. Night is falling and the seed fight is on, with a lot of them already ending up in the hands of Fnatic, getting their plant to the bot lane. We have the Vikings in position. Shaihu is starting to move in there. We have, by the way, Mosh Pit taken on ETC.
And strafe taken here by the Valor that we were expecting to see when you're going up against Vikings. Pretty important to go for. But again, Divine Storm works against those two things pretty well as well. So it does have that extra utility, not having to need that Divine Shield at the moment.
Now that we have the Knight again, it's also time for Shinobu to split his Vikings once more, and he does that. He puts one of them into the mid lane, trying to soak up at least one wave. That gives them currently level 12, but I have to give really some credit to Gamers2. The rotations that they have on the map are amazing. Not only in this game now, but throughout the entire series, they were always able to basically soak every single creep wave that moved against them, and that gave them, in most of the matches early on, or at least in the early mid game, a very significant experience lead.
Super strong pushing power, not only the mid lane now with the Garden Tower on the way, but also the bot lane. And obviously, you know, throwing both of the Vikings into, one of the Vikings into that Garden Tower is very, very useful.
Oh yeah.
It makes it all the more potent.
Yeah, that's one of the big things if you play Vikings on this map in particular, that you can use one of them to go into the Garden Terrace. It works very similar with the Dragon Knight, so that's another option where you can really use those heroes and get a lot out of them. Trying to go for the kill here. Oh, nope. No Viking dying in this far.
Yeah, they were looking for it. Shinobu's Viking, one of them was very, very low. There's a grab though. Shaihu's Garden Terror is going to take a lot of free damage. Not really be able to sustain against that too much. So getting that, obviously they were running down the timer for a while on those Garden Terrors because you want to take it after your opponent's taken it. But now Shaihu's is very low.
Yeah, it's extremely low. Lowell needed to move around though to get into position again. He was a bit split from the rest of the team. Oh, Shaihu is nearly dying here on his plant, and immediately the pursuit is on. They're trying to move in and get the Polymorph Seed into position to maybe isolate one of the heroes from Gamers2. The Polish team in full retreat, and they're able to get away here.
Yeah, likewise, though, the Vikings had to move out of position. They were taking quite a lot of damage, so they're in the back lines. They're not really able to participate too much during all of this. But once the Terra is gone, they could go for Longbow if they really want to take the engagement. Shinobu's going to get the jump out of there. There goes the straight, but it's not really doing a whole lot.
Yeah, Ace is extremely low, but they kill ETC. They get the kill against ETC. The longboat is there. The Vikings already singing, but look at that burst. They were waiting for it, of course, and they take 2 of the Vikings down. They kill Stitches too. AD and his team, they are suddenly turning things around really quickly. The position for the Lost Vikings ultimate just not good enough there.
No, not at all. I used it a little bit at the very end of the fight more so than anything. Once they'd actually lost someone, if Stitches had been up during all of that, then it would have been all the better.
Yeah, I didn't really mind the timing. I thought the position was just a bit off. You know, of course the idea is that you get as close to the rest of your opponent's team as possible, but in this case all the Gamers2 had to do was turn around, focus the longbow down, and then there was nearly no damage that Shinobu could dish out with it.
Well, ADRD now going to try and push this mid lane and get himself a tower himself, as well as going for their hard camp down to the bottom means that they'll get some extra pushing going on there. So they haven't lost a fort yet. Gamers2 are looking really good in this game and haven't really given Vikings too much room at all.
Yeah, exactly. And also with that split not happening as much as we expected, and Gamers2 playing such a great game when it comes to lane presence, we have them now at level 15.5 against 14.5, so they have a level lead over the Vikings team.
That being said, Vikings does gather a lot of power later on, especially once they hit level 20 and their longboat becomes super, super strong. But it depends on if they're even allowing them to get there with any map presence at all, because right now they've stolen their easy camp. The Storm does so much to the Vikings at the front, they've got to disengage.
Yeah, they disengage. The hook against Shaihu is good. They get the Hunter's Mark into, but he just simply goes for the keg, uses the barrel, rolls away, and there was no problem for him to get out of there. And of course now with the level 16 talent being very, very close, it's a very difficult situation for Fnatic if they engage here and the 16 talent comes into play during the fight. With quick talents, we will see Gamers2 with a significant advantage. And now the disengagement may be a bit too late, since especially Frets is very isolated, tries to use Pudrik Bile to get away here, and he will be able to, but that was a close call. I thought he might die in this situation.
Yeah, thankfully Relentless is able to power on through there with that Putrid Bile as well, getting him out of that situation. But I like the choice of Giant Killer as well here on Hammer, just being able to try and chew through that front line of ETC and Chen that are probably going to be trying to annoy him anyway if he gets in a bad position. So that's going to help out in those team fights.
Yeah, bot lane, by the way, being soaked by the Vikings now. We have also the plans for both of the teams again. So when it comes to seeds, it was not really a big problem for Fnatic. It's really important that you have on Garden of Terror always a seed amount that is kind of even with your opponent, so that you don't run into this miserable position where you have to fight against 2 plans back to back.
Yeah.
Right now Fnatic isn't really threatened there. Both of the teams are going for one of the big Garden Terrors and collecting the seeds. Fnatic will get level 16, but again they are behind in experience, so they need to win one of those fights.
And if their Vikings actually survive, there is the potential for them to soak up quite a lot of experience. Shinobu's Viking down to the bottom does manage to keep itself alive against that Garden Terror. Shaihu actually hooks on to Shaihu's Garden Terror and will actually fly across there, but not too much damage done, but they did do a little bit.
Yeah, Fishing Hook is taken now. We have our Vikings with the Norse Force, of course, and we are seeing now the Shooting Star taken by Tyrande. The fight in the mid lane started. This extra soak at the top. They're really trying to make sure that they're closing this gap in experience. That lead that Gamers2 has, they're trying to negate that as much as they can, but that also means that right now they couldn't even use Longboard even if they wanted, but they also have Shinobu on the plan, so that wouldn't have been an option anyways.
Yeah, and Shaihu's plant terror is going quite low, just engaging here for a second. At least they got themselves the fort, so now it's 3 forts against 0, which is doing pretty good work for them. But as I said, the 2 little Vikings up to the top, soaking up some of that experience. They are closing the gap a little bit, but thanks to that fort falling, obviously that did give Gamers2 that extra boost.
It's a good split push too, though. Like, they're starting to push up straight against that wall, and they might be able to take a few of the towers down. In the mid lane, Fnatic is starting to push in really hard, and oh, great move against Yo, against the stun in as well. Even the Starfall being used, but ETC still moving away here. But that pressure that we have from Fnatic here was extremely important for them. Vala had to rotate to the top lane to deal with the Vikings before some of those structures die. And talking about structures, not a single fort has been taken down by Fnatic, whereas Gamers2 eliminated all 3 of them.
Yeah, and that was a little bit of a shame for Fnatic there, who could never really use their Garden Terror in an aggressive manner. Unfortunately, they just had to use it for the defense, and they lost the fort anyway. So they did kind of take quite a bit of damage from that. Gamers2 are playing this brilliantly, considering that they just let the only hero that they banned all series long through, and they're dealing with it okay. But, you know, they're still going to get themselves experience in these lanes, and once that level 20 comes along, Vikings can make a lot of difference.
Gamers2 is showing very much why they are one of the top teams in Europe, and it is a very impressive display here on this last map. But still, this is a game that Fnatic can easily take if they get the kill at the beginning with a good hook. If they accomplish that, or maybe with a good longbow, they could turn things around, but at this point, it is definitely the Polish team that is pressuring Fnatic a lot more, and that is getting ahead in the game.
Almost nearing level 19 now. They will get 20 before Fnatic here if they're not careful, but ADRT actually gets picked up. Shift will come out from the dimensional shift just to make sure he's going to keep himself alive. And there, look, I mean, the Vikings are catching up in experience. This is doing all right for them.
Yeah, they're pushing the mid lane now. We saw Olaf there together with the 2 siege giants pressuring the key at the fort, and doing quite some work there. And the top lane push from the siege giant camp that Gamers2 took earlier is currently being stopped by another Viking, so they are going straight for this one as well. At this point, Shinobu is splitting them a lot more, trying to catch up in experience.
Yeah, he's got to. He's absolutely got to. You need to use this tool that you have available to you when you are this behind. And again, they are catching up still. They really are. They're very minutely off level 19 at the moment, whereas it was almost a whole level's worth of a lead. But Shaihu was going very aggressive there against Freds with his team trailing behind for a second.
Yeah, and forcing Freds into using his heroic ability. Puric Bile used as an escape mechanism there. And that means, of course, that they will be down for the next team fight, potentially. At least that is. We're having the rotation from Fnatic down to the bottom lane, trying to get the seeds. And that is what we have been talking about earlier. If they miss out on those, then they might not have a plan and can't fight the plant battle. Yeah. But as it happens, Gamers2 focusing now on the Garden Terror up to the top lane, and Fnatic going for the split at the bottom.
Yeah, doing okay with that. They're going to get quite a lot of plants, of course, here. But as I said, that those numbers are evening up, and it's funny because Gamers2, they don't really care too much that the split push is going on, or at least the split soaking is going on. They're not even shutting it down. They're just letting it happen and saying, fine, that's okay. We don't really get that much experience from killing off one of the Vikings anyway. And it looks as if they just feel confident going up against this composition.
Kinda, but the problem that they have is that Fnatic is now getting ahead in experience, and that means that Fnatic will have a faster level 20. Gamers2 did a great job, but this game isn't over. And Fnatic, with an early level 20, their own plant and a longbow, can very well take a team fight, and then maybe get just this momentum going that finally allows them to take down structures, which so far they haven't accomplished. That also means that there's a lot of experience on the map that they can get. Again, the hook against Shaihu, by the way. They dodged the polymorph plant, at least everybody except for Freds does. And now that we have the plant versus plant battle, the 20 talent hits thanks to Shinobu still utilizing the Viking at the top lane.
Oh, Nexus Frenzy in here for Lowell as well on that siege tank. Means a lot of damage will be coming out from him. ADRD was actually in a bad spot there, taking a lot of damage from Lowell as he now finds himself in a better spot, and it was healed up, but the plant is going to die very soon, and Shinobu's is totally healthy and still soaking up both of these lanes.
Yeah, the plant is gone. The keep is still alive, but it dies in the second, and we have still Vikings soaking the lanes and going for the split push. They really need to get them together right now for the longbow. Very important here. Ace is getting kind of low, but he has Redemption used as the talent, so he is still going to survive there. At the same time, we're having Shinobu trying to do as much damage as he can with the plant. He has another 50 seconds on that. And, well, down here, Shaiku and ADRD are getting kind of low. They need to be careful.
The Vikings are coming, the Vikings are coming. They're going to be able to join up with this very, very shortly as Shinobu is about to die with this Plant Terror. Maybe they can push this back, but there we go. The Garden Terror is gone. Xiao Wei actually jumped on in to try and deny them from doing much, but ADRD with the shift down, he's going to get chased down.
But up at the top, Yova is trying to get away, and there's 3 heroes chasing him, and Freds with a good hook could bring him back.
There's still a lot of potential here. That longbow is able to shoot very, very far, but they don't get a single kill off of all that. That's crazy, crazy stuff.
Yeah, Ace of Spades here, the Redemption really working out in this, but now they push the opponents back. They lost the keep. That's still the big problem here. Losing that keep is a big deal, and that's of course an issue. We're going into that fight once again, and this time Ace is completely isolated. The hook hitting ADRD, but he's dodging the stun at least for a second. Very low, using the Dimensional Warp once more. Strafe being used. A lot of DPS against the Vikings. Over the jump, they get away for now, but Fred says no mana, nothing. Is getting hit by Ace in the last second, but Shaihu jumps in again to chase him down.
Putrid Bile for the disengage here to try and get out as Freds, that's all there he really had the mana for. There's the Divine Storm, but it's not going to be enough to be able to keep these back, and Lowell is almost sure to die from this position, so a 2-for-0 trade there, and Gamers2 looking to find extra damage somewhere.
The Vikings at the top and in the mid lane, and Gamers2 is trying to end the game. They are moving in, 2 heroes down, it's a 5 versus 3. They're moving in for it, and they need the Vikings to come back and help out with this defense. We're already having them moving in, the Starfall is there, Kesel is doing what he can, but look at this damage against the core, and it looks like it's going to be potentially game. Yowe even using his own heroic, and this has to be it, or not, they kill Vala, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
It's over, it's over. One of the Vikings was at the top and for some reason didn't have the recall back. And they weren't able to use that longbow. Maybe it would have changed things, but regardless, congratulations to Gamers2.
Wow, a great last match there. Vikings being used for the first time. So far they were banned every single time by Gamers2, and then in the last map they said, okay, listen guys, we can't deal with that Jaina anymore. It's way too much damage, we don't want to deal with this, so we ban Jaina instead of the Lost Vikings. And Fnatic, they pounce on the idea of using Vikings here, but as it happens, they're not really able to get all that value out of them. So they were trying in the game to really control the flow of the match, but Gamers2 was just a bit too strong. The presence they have on the map is absolutely ridiculous. So Gamers2, they take it, they win the best of 5 series, they win the last match on Garden of Terror and advance now to the winner bracket final of the ESL Major League Playoffs. Fnatic, on the other hand, they're still not out of the tournament just yet. They dropped down in the losers bracket and they will be able to fight another day and try, of course, to reach the grand final here. Congratulations, first of all, of course, to the Polish team. And guys, I hope you enjoyed the series. It was amazing to cast those games. If you liked the matches, then give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Comment in the comment section if you have any questions or if you have anything that you want to say about the Vikings being used here, about Jaina, about the new meta, about the style that was being employed by all of the teams. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Have a great day, boys. I'm going to see you next time with more ESL Major League Playoff action.